back. Today we've got again a ton of trailers to talk about. Some very positive news as well regarding the WGA, which we'll get into later on, as well as a number of movies and also a video game to talk about. And hopefully Joe will be able to make it because there's a particular movie which we're going to have a very interesting discussion about, which already started online. Franco, how's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. Like apparently today was the first day of school. This morning we had to go back home and work from home because we got stuck in traffic. But obviously, traffic in Malta is a perception. Uh,
It's a
otherwise,
state of
yes,
mind.
yeah, it's a state of mind. Um, uh, no, otherwise, like you said, before we were discussing this weekend, I saw quite a bunch of movies. I saw Bottoms. No One Will Save You. I was that was quite a surprise, and I can't wait for Joe to come here and continue the already heated online discussion. But by the way, also I managed to find the translation of what the aliens were saying as well in
Ooh, okay.
and they were asking her what is the Ad Lib podcast all about.
Smart aliens. Not very smart in their actions, but very smart in what they say then. That's going to be part of my review. The aliens are ooh, dumb. The podcast is all about movies, all about video games, all about series. This week we don't really have too many. We have one series to talk about, which I'll mention later on, The Continental, which I'll get into a little bit. This week, like I said, a bunch of trailers. We've got two Nicolas Cage trailers. We could call episode 40 the Nicolas Cage
Cage
episode.
episode.
We've got a trailer for All of Us Strangers, which I was telling you before, Franco, I think is going to be my after sun of 2023.
With friend
That's
of the
gonna be
show,
right.
Paul Mescal.
Coincidentally, Paul Mescal being in both.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a coincidence.
yeah.
Paul Mescal he's a great actor. We've also got the trailers for Percy Jackson and the Olympians, which that will be a series, yes, and also for Hunger Games, Ballad, Songbirds and Snakes, which is a movie which will come out around, I think, December. Like I said, news, we've got some interesting comments by Michael Caine regarding both the fact that he's apparently retired, he's 90, and also regarding the intimacy coordinators and what goes on with sex scenes in movies and back in the day, right?
Back in the day, yeah.
Again, remembering Michael Caine is 90. And like I also mentioned, we've got the WGA to talk about. Finally, some good news there. With regard to the reviews, we've got Joe coming in with a review for Dumb Money. I've got a review for the video game Lies of P. I've got a lot of thoughts there. Then we've all watched Bottoms, and we've all also watched No One Will Save You. And that will be the big one. And before I forget, also A Haunting in Venice. That's a movie I went to watch today.
Joe saw
Anyways,
Bottoms as
Franco.
well.
Sorry, Franco.
Joe
I think
saw
he did.
Bottoms as
No?
well.
Yeah, I think he mentioned he did watch it.
Okay. No,
He-
but first, hmm
Go ahead, Franco.
no. Go ahead.
No, because I was going to say, I think he mentioned that he wasn't like, wow about the movie. Like he thought there
Okay.
was a lot of hype about it. I think he mentioned it in chat at one point.
Mm. Yeah, I think I said it was overhyped. It was overhyped, but it's silly. you have to take it as it is. Plus, like I said, anyway, we get more
I have
into
some
it.
very strong thoughts about Bottoms as well. And I
In
think it's
fa-
one of the movies that me and my girlfriend most disagreed about.
with Stroud.
Yeah, very strongly
So
disagreed about it. But
who liked it between you and your
I'll
girlfriend?
find out in the review. I'll find out in the review.
Anyway, how was your first day at school, by the way?
Interesting. Lots of changes. Everything is changing, but no, I'm okay. It's good to be back at work. I know lots of people talk about summer being like a time when we can be lazy and kind of like just prepare material. I could not
Doubt,
prepare that much because
doubt
we
kid
didn't have the
teachers.
books. We
Doubt
didn't
kid
have the books.
teachers. Mayam Luce.
Um, Unfortunately, all the work started this week, basically, with regard
Oh
to
my god.
preparation, because number one, I wasn't certain about like the levels and the classes I would have. So
hmm
obviously, I I had to start. I obviously started when I found out exactly which levels and which classes I would have. And also because of the books, because we still don't have the textbooks, which is another problem. But that's apparently they will come in later
Ah,
on
this
this year.
country.
I will find out.
I
Again, it's a
mean,
problem with. I don't think it's a problem with Malta per se. I think it's more the delivery now.
oh,
Whoever takes care of the delivery.
the supply chain. Nah, come on, man. I mean, you've had the whole summer to fix this, you know. I mean, and now
I
it's
mean,
like, okay,
they applied for them around February. So I mean, I think they applied for them early enough. No, the EOs in our country in February. So I
if,
mean,
yeah,
that's quite early. I think.
but now we're closing October. It's like, what happened in
Yeah, yeah,
between, you
yeah, yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. Well, the
That's
supplier.
it.
There was an issue with the supplier. But anyways, that's the
But
usual stuff at school.
I mean, to be honest, I remember last time I told you I ordered Killers of the
Yes.
Flower Moon. I still didn't receive it. I was supposed to receive it
Shit.
on the
Okay.
18th.
But is there a problem with books? Maybe right now. I don't know.
I have no idea, but post in Malta is really a hassle. And I also got something. I'm not expecting it to be getting it by next week.
Mm-hmm,
In any
mm-hmm,
case,
mm-hmm.
oh yeah, Vienna. I really enjoyed Vienna.
Ooh, Vienna. How was it, Franco?
Oh my god, what a beautiful city! Like that city has no business being that beautiful. And I suggested to our viewers to go visit it. And actually, we're also telling to our viewers and listeners to subscribe, comment where they have been, if they or where they want to go for a short holiday. Because mine it was
Mm.
quite short as well. It was like 5
4 days. No,
days,
Franco. 5 days.
4 days. Kept I walked a lot, like
Ooh,
for the
Vienna is such a walkable city,
oh
Madonna.
my
Such a
god.
walkable city.
And I was totally the tourist because all of the time I was spending it like this, looking at the buildings. You know, it's like people were noticing. Okay, he's definitely a tourist.
It's
Um.
impossible not to be a tourist in Vienna. No, it's so beautiful. Every
Oh,
palace is just stunning. So
yeah.
clean as well. Oh shit,
My
man.
my anti-imperialist emotions were strong when I visited Schönbrunn Palace. Like, oh my god,
Oh my god.
how
That's an oh my
deca-
god place.
how decadent! And you know, it's like, and then it's like I was listening to the guide. Oh, because Emperor Franz Joseph was working at this desk, and it's like, wow, okay, it's like so much tough work, you know.
And the gardens. What do you think about the gardens?
Illallo, the gardens were
Impressive
amazing.
Ostra.
They were amazing. Um, was surprisingly hot. Sorry, I'm eating a Korean because they also got me like Korean
Mm,
candy,
nice.
maichu.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I met my Korean friend over there. It was also nice. Um, yeah, but then I had a bit of a calm down when I came back because I okay, quick note, and then we get into the show. I got really pissed off because like I see Valletta, we do have like the architecture
Oh, Valletta
and
stunning. Valletta stunning. Oh, there's nothing to say about it there. And Medina, Medina again is
and
stunning.
I know, but why anyway, it's 8 minutes. Okay, 8 minutes 30 seconds. Why the fuck do we have to make it like boutique hotels? Everywhere's a boutique hotel or a bar or a restaurant, and it's insane. It's insane. I noticed
Well,
also in Vienna.
go ahead, Franco, and then I'll talk about boutique hotels because I have an opinion there.
Also, what I noticed in Vienna is they don't have ACs, but I think most probably it has to do with the buildings. They cannot like change the excuse me the structure of the buildings most probably. And what
Mm,
we're going to
mm.
say about Valletta?
Because about boutique hotels, the thing I like about boutique hotels is that generally you'll notice that they try to keep the style of architecture like they don't go with a modern look in Valletta, for example.
Granted, but again, my issue is: do we really need another boutique hotel?
No,
Uh,
we don't. But as long as they don't like ruin the kind of like the architectural style of the street, for me it's fine. And to be honest, some of the boutique hotels in Valletta look amazing. I'm going to be honest with you.
they do,
Some of
but
them look really good, really
they
good.
do, but
Expensive, very
uh,
expensive,
that,
like ridiculously expensive.
that's another issue. You know, that's another issue. I mean, but then again, it's like it's getting crowded. Like there was
Yes.
Vienna,
Yes.
Vienna. Just to be clear, Vienna was crowded, but at least you could move along.
Hmm.
Like the weekends, Vienna was crazy, but at least there was space where to sit down and enjoy and just people watch. Anyway, I can't wait to go back again.
And it's also one of the greenest cities in all of Europe, if
That's
not the
what they said.
greenest, I believe. With it, like I think like 30%, 40% of the city is just green areas, which is
Yes,
impressive. Which is
yes,
very
yes.
impressive, very impressive. Something we
And
could definitely learn from.
to segue it back into the movie, I also saw the iconic record shop. It was closed because it opens in the afternoon. The Alten the record shop that we see in before sunrise. I'm like, ah.
Nice, nice, nice,
However,
nice.
there's an even more beautiful bookshop right next to it, and I should be uploading a photo soon on my Instagram. But anyway, guys, let's get into it. Remember to like, subscribe, comment down below what we have seen, what you look forward to see, and yeah, how was your week, Andrea?
I had a good week, though. Put in a lot of work with regard to watching stuff, I mind you, but also preparing stuff as well for school. It was a very busy week, actually. I watched Lahan with my parents,
Oh my god,
which is it the best movie ever made? It's up there,
iconic,
definitely. Like
iconic,
everything about that movie is just perfect. Like
and still relevant, still
so
so
relevant, man.
timeless,
So
man.
relevant. It's very timeless movie. Like the camera work in the DJ scene just blew my head. Like I'm like, what the fuck? This is
Time
amazing. Like
time
that
for a rewatch.
DJ scene. That DJ scene, amazing. The lighting, man, the lighting. I don't know if you remember the lighting in certain scenes is just
Um,
incredible.
the black and white.
When they're underground and he's pointing the gun and like there's the lighting on I forgot the names of the characters, but there's a lighting pointing on top of one of the three guys. It's just insane. And how funny it is as well.
Very funny.
It's so funny at times. The scene where they're in the toilet and the old guy comes out talking about Grunwald or whatever the name of his friend was, running with pulling up his pants because he couldn't run because he was shitting and pulling up his pants. That is, I was watching it with my mom and dad, and we spent like 5 minutes just laughing, crying. I haven't seen my parents laugh that much in ages. And we
Yes,
were just laughing, 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 but at the same time, then you know that that story isn't just there to be funny. There's a very, very, very strong message behind it as well. Apart from the fact that the movie tackles so many things so effectively and so powerfully and so brutally. Like it tackles everything. So
directed
many issues.
directed by an actor, Matthew Kassovitz. So just so time for a rewatch. I missed.
Yes, 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 yes.
Wasn't there an anniversary? I think of Lahan.
I believe there was because that's when I saw the trailer. I saw the trailer for the
Okay,
anniversary of the movie. Yeah, so that's Lan. If you haven't watched it, viewers and listeners, please make sure you do. Watch it with your friends. It's a good movie, I think, to watch with your friends. Or I watched it with my family. It was a real blast. Very, very excellent movie. Up there with the best. Definitely up there with the best. I watched No One Will Save You. Strong opinions there. We'll talk about it in the review.
yeah.
I watched episode 1 of The Continental. I'm not going to give a review for it because it's just episode 1. It's 3 episodes, but I'm just going to say, it's starring Mel Gibson and Colin Woodle. Um, it's obviously it comes from the world of John Wick. It somewhat lacks that kind of like really powerful style and kind of like the panache of the John Wick series. It doesn't have like, for example, that amazing neon lighting is missing. I mean, it's set
Mm,
the setting is interesting enough. Tadviri set in the 70s. Very good soundtrack, but it overdoes it at times, like constantly needle drop, needle drop, needle drop, needle drop,
Lalo.
needle drop. So at the start, you're like, ooh, this is an amazing, oh, this is a great song. This is a great song. But at the same time, you're like, so
Okay.
they're all amazing songs, but I mean, can we move on with the story or with the dialogue?
Mm,
um, the big issue I have with it is Winston is the main character, right? In this, obviously he's quite young in it, but there like either maybe we'll see Winston grow up in the series, and in the later episodes he'll be like more charismatic, But so far, he's nothing compared to what we had in the John Wick
Ian
movies.
McShane, yeah.
Like the charisma we get from Winston in the John Wick movies from Ian McShane exactly. It's just insane. Like his charisma personified. In this, he's just like a plain protagonist, very plain character.
Mm,
Actually, is okay for a straight to TV episode series kind of. It's the action is decent enough. I saw some people complain about the action. To be honest, I understand it's not John Wick. Again, it's not the action of John Wick.
okay.
Stahelski doesn't direct it, by the way. He's just like producing it, I
Creator.
believe.
Mm.
Um, like it's the thing is also it's in a weird position where it's 3 episodes. Each episode is 1 hour 30 minutes. So like it's like somewhere in between a movie and a series, and I'm not sure it
Mhm.
knows which it wants to be. Because as much as series can be super cinematic, there is a certain structure to a series, which is different to the structure of a movie. And here I had 1 hour 30 minutes of just introducing us to the setting and introducing us to the characters. But that's 1 hour 30 minutes. Lahan is 1 hour 30 minutes. No one
Mm.
will save you is 1 hour
This is one
30
hour
minutes.
30 minutes.
Bottoms is 1 hour 30 minutes. And this is just 1 hour 30 minutes of setting up the story. And the real story will start in episode 2 after 1 hour 30 minutes. So
No, no.
pacing issues galore. I think it will get better though. I really think it will get better in episode 2. But so far, so and so, so and so. Like Franco, I watched Bottoms, which we will review. I watched A Haunting in Venice today. I went to Embassy Cinemas to watch it. I had a good time. I'll talk about it later on. And one thing I wanted to mention, two things I wanted to mention with regard to games. First of all, today I'm also going to review, like I mentioned before, Lies of P, which I played this week. It released on Xbox Game Pass for PC. Had a good time with it, but I have some very strong opinions about it as well, which I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with. And I also wanted to make a special mention for a game that got me through COVID with my friends, which is Warzone, Call of Duty Warzone. That is a game that got me through COVID. Honestly, that game released in March of 2020, and just the fact that I was playing online with my friends with it really like saved my mental health. Honestly, unfortunately, Activision decided to close the Warzone 1 servers, which is incredibly sad. So rest in peace, Warzone 1. Thank you for hundreds of hours of like fun gaming time I had with my friends for that. Rip Warzone 1. Hopefully the next Call of Duty will be better than the current one, because the current one is awful. That's pretty much my week, Franco. Mostly good stuff, some okay-ish stuff, and the bad news about Warzone. Shall we get into the trailers, Franco?
Yep. Actually,
You want to
by
kick?
the way, I need to make a quick shout out to analog horror.
Okay.
I don't know, because recently I found these channels 4 Plus and Wow Man, and they're doing like a sort of rundown of analog horror, and I'm like, holy shit! There's so much creativity in. As much as there's shit in YouTube, there's also great creativity, and it's so undiscovered. Like the shit has like 30 million views, and the good like creative quality is just like a couple thousand views, and it's, I mean, maybe because it's horror, people want to be a bit more, entertained. I can understand it, but the creativity. Apparently, there's a whole niche about Jurassic Park. It's like they do like informational videos in the case that a dinosaur breaks from the compound, and
La la, how cool.
for example, there's Jurassic Park found footage horror as well.
Lich.
I mean, and with the graphics, obviously the graphics are what they are, but considering, man, like we've seen Caine Pixels getting a contract with A24 to do his oh my god, what's the series called?
The alien one, right? Backrooms.
Backrooms.
We had talked about it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember.
and there's a similar one called Liminal Land, and yeah, it is, they're very powerful, and I think one that I want to go into is called Monument Mythos, the Monument
Hmm.
Mythos, and basically it's a James Dean is president in this timeline. He beats Nixon, but then there's the idea that the statues in this universe are alive. You see like Mount Rushmore as well. Mount Rushmore has some kind of particular power, which is interesting. Like there's so much creativity around it, and also I like the visual style that they use, like broadcasts, some like 80s broadcasts, and sometimes I'd say I'd love to see them how would they would be developed into full length movies. But anyway, if you guys are into horror and some new horror stuff, analog horror, check it out on
Nice,
YouTube.
nice. Very interesting. All right, Franco. I think we can get into the trailers. And like I mentioned at the start, this is the Nicolas Cage podcast. Because
Francesca
we've
Vella
got
Francesca Vella likes it.
because we've got not one but two trailers this week from Nicolas Cage. The first one we're going to talk about is Dream Scenario. To be honest with you, both look really interesting. Both look fantastic. Francesca actually shared the trailer. She was the one who made me aware of
Yep.
this. This is an A24 comedy. Like I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, guys, by the way, we cannot unfortunately play the trailers on our podcast for obvious copyright reasons. So if you want to have a look at the trailer, please go ahead and find it on YouTube. We're just going to comment about it, and I'll have some screenshots then from the trailer itself
We
as well
got
to comment about.
DMCA'd again.
Yeah, we get DMCA every week, and I have to
Oh,
edit it out. That's the part I have to edit out. Yes, it's
I
annoying.
mean, it's transformational. Jesus.
Very transformative. I don't get
Ah,
why we get. I think it's just automatic though for certain most things.
ah,
And
anyway.
it's generally like Netflix, which block our stuff. Netflix and Disney. Those are the
But
two that block
the
our stuff.
A24 are fine. A24 are
No,
really
honestly,
are.
not to like, because everyone knows I love A24, but I've never had any trailer. We watch a lot of A24 trailers on this podcast. I've never had any A24
DMCA.
episodes apart from Beef, because that was on
Okay,
Netflix.
because that was Netflix.
But that was Netflix doing it. Anyways,
The villains of this podcast.
yeah,
Like that.
Disney and
And-
Netflix. Ugh.
anyway,
Anyways, the first of two Nicolas Cage movies called Dream Scenario. And in fact, everybody's dreaming of Nicolas Cage, especially Francesca Vella. In the first trailer for A24's comedy drama Dream Scenario, the wacky film from writer-director Christopher Borgli stars the Academy Award winner as Paul Matthews, a hapless, ordinary family man who's rocketed to international superstardom when he starts appearing in millions of strangers' minds while they slumber.
Mm-mm.
Eventually, those dreams start becoming nightmares filled with peak cage weirdness that quickly flips Paul's fame into infamy. Trailer sees Paul wrestle with his newfound prominence while trying to live a normal life, all as chaos ensues inside everybody's heads. This is an interesting one. Franco, you've watched the trailer. What do you think?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I'm seeing because the writer director, his name was very familiar, and now I see that he directed a movie still haven't seen called Sick of Myself, and
Okay.
also Dream Scenario. The story is actually based on a not on fact, on a urban legend, on a real story, if I'm not mistaken, of people dreaming of the same person. Let me check
All
quickly.
right. Interesting. I think there was
People
some information on
dream
that here. Could be. Is it based on a book? I'm not sure if it's based on a book as well.
um oh yeah, it's there's this man, it's called, um uh, he was the main focus of a website called Ever Dream This Man, created by Italian sociologist and marketer Andrea Natella in
Mm.
2000. I'm reading off Wikipedia,
Hmm.
but I remember this having like this man thing. So it's really interesting, and no, the movie looks and interest very. I would want to watch this movie and see where it goes. It feels like it's going to go places.
Yes, definitely. I think the fact that you've got all those dream sequences, Nicolas Cage can really ham it up in those sequences because you know it's a dream, so hamming it up in those scenes is fine. But then he seems to give a rather like quite an awkward performance. Like even here, you can see like kind of like quiet, awkward personality, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
not something we're kind of that used to with Nicolas Cage. But then he can really ham it up when it comes, obviously, like I said, to the dream
yeah,
sequences, right, where he goes like super crazy in those sequences. I think it's going to be best of both worlds for Nicolas Cage here
for sure, for
in
sure.
this movie. Like he also seems to be having a really good time as well in
Mm.
in this trailer, like really really good
Yeah,
time
this is really interesting. Like when his daughter starts.
floating.
Mm.
Yeah, it
I'm
looks very
go-
good. So yeah, overall, loser.
yeah,
So overall, I think we're both very excited for this, Franco. Coming out on November in theaters on November 10th.
November
So
10th.
interesting to see if it releases in Malta. By the way, I noticed it's we've got Ari Aster producing it as executive producer.
Oh, nice. Yes. No, I mean, so we know what we're expecting.
Michael
I actually,
Cera, Julian Nicholson, Tim
mm,
Meadows. So it's a very good cast as well.
I
Very good
might
cast.
I might watch Sick of Myself today because I was thinking of watching. I was thinking of watching. El Conde, and maybe I'll watch Sick of Myself to see how it
Hmm.
is.
Hmm.
It's because it's the same director as the without labor of the writers and lecture, just like the film being covered here wouldn't exist. We're gonna get soon onto that.
Yeah.
All
Apparently,
right,
the
right.
reactions to it are very positive as well, from what Collider are saying. The first reactions to the movie from Toronto International Film
It's a
Festival
film festival. Mm.
have had good first
Let,
strong reviews.
let's take them with a pinch of salt. We'll
Yeah, yeah,
take them
because
with a pinch of salt because it's kind of
first reactions and first reviews are always very positive. Like we discussed this, I think last week, me and Joe, how when you're in a festival, you're in a festival, right? You don't want to come out of a festival disappointed.
about the applause and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you don't want to leave a festival disappointed. You paid hundreds of euros to be there. Like, and I understand why people come out of movies more positive than maybe your average audience who is watching it
Mm, mm,
either
mm.
on television or what. So that I understand completely. Don't get me wrong. It happens to me as well when I go watch a movie in the cinema. When I go watch a movie in the cinema, I notice I tend to be more positive about it than when I watch it at home. That's
True.
something I really
There's
notice
a
about
different
myself.
experience. There's a different experience, and I really look forward. Like, by the way, guys, and this is a bit of a not shameless plug. There's The Exorcist coming on multi screens before the blah, 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 Exorcist sequel coming out. So that will be interesting.
Yes, definitely. I'll go watch that. Definitely.
Tell me when. I'm coming with you. I really
Will
want
do,
to
will
see
do,
that.
will do, will do. Definitely, definitely.
Mm.
Next up, more Nicolas Cage. This time we've got. Oh, one second. That's the Nicolas
The
Cage we were talking
review.
about. More Nicolas Cage with Butcher's Crossing. This time it's a completely and totally different movie, showing
Mm.
us something we obviously already knew, what great range Nicolas Cage has.
Okay.
Because this time we've got a tense Western, which will be released theatrically this October. Franco.
I'm laughing because now I'm realizing. You remember Face Off with Nicolas Cage
Yep.
and John Travolta, and he really looks like John Travolta because John Travolta recently has this kind of
Oh,
style of
shit. True.
true. Maybe a new Face Off.
Yeah. Not in this, though. Not in this
No,
movie,
no, not in
definitely.
this is.
I actually think there might be some faces coming off because it looks brutal.
Okay.
It looks brutal.
Not to mention, there was supposed to be a remake of Face Off, but anyway, that's
Yes, yes,
been in
yes.
the
That's Oh boy.
Mm,
Oh boy.
mm.
Yeah. Don't
And
mention it, Franco. Maybe they'll forget about it.
true, true, true.
So, Nicolas Cage definitely has had a stellar 2022 full of fun genre films. That's not slowing down with the release of the. Oh my god, I thought it was going to be Face Off remake. PTSD. Face Off actors' next film, Butcher's Crossing, based on the classic novel by John Williams. The Western is getting a full theatrical release this October, and now Saban Films has released a new trailer for the film that teases the wild hunt ahead. The film follows Will Andrews, Fred Heshinger, who just dropped out of Harvard looking for a new adventure out west. This takes him to Colorado and a group of buffalo hunters led by a mysterious man named Miller. However, as the trailer alludes, Will has gotten more than he bargained for, with the hunt quickly devolving into an obsessive, repetitive nightmare. It definitely looks like a nightmare, but not for audiences, because I'm going to be honest with you, Franco, the cinematography and the camera work in this
looks
looks
looks amazing.
looks great. And Nicolas Cage, completely different performance to the one in the previous movie.
Hmm.
He looks so good in this. So good in this.
The only issue with this trailer is that it's too long, man. I think it's
Gives away a lot.
I feel it gives away a lot. Huh? I mean, the landscapes look fucking fantastic,
Mhm.
but the trailer for it to be like 2 minutes long, like guys, a minute was enough.
True,
We've
true, true.
and Fred Hershinger, of course, it's really interesting to see him with a beard, looking very adult. Because when I met him in Valletta, he looked so young and Carib like almost.
I was so surprised this is him. I was watching the trailer and my girlfriend was behind me and we watched The White Lotus together. It's like, wait, Fred Heshinger, wasn't he the guy who was in White Lotus, the kid?
He was, yeah, yeah.
I'm like, wait, no way. And I compared the photo from him in White Lotus to this and like, Jesus,
Very, very ragged. Like his look now is very ragged.
a beard makes such a difference.
Mm,
But like even like I was looking at the scene, like the hunting scenes as well look really
mm,
good as well. Like that
yeah.
smoke, Jesus, that smoke.
Who's the
Look,
cinematographer in this one?
I don't know if we have that listed here. I don't think it's listed here.
Yeah, yeah. No,
I can look it up though.
but well done to the cinematographer as well.
Definitely,
So
definitely. Even the colors look great. So,
yes, yes, very western.
hmm new Western masterpiece. There we go.
But I kind of like
And the
please
snow as well.
stop.
Oh, this shot. I love this shot.
Yeah, Hafna, it's so good.
And again, Nicolas Cage. He looks
He looks
on
the
top of
part.
things. He
Yes, he looks the
definitely
part.
looks the part. A journey into hell. It looks great. I think again, Franco. Oh, these shots, man, Jesus! Every shot is like a work of
Every
art.
every shot, every frame a painting.
Every frame a painting, exactly.
Sorely missed. Sorely missed.
Every frame a painting, definitely. So yeah, again, maybe you
Oh,
can
there
see it
it
there.
is.
Production design by
Um,
Tesla Hastings, director of photography David
David
Gallego. Gallego.
Gallego.
Gallego.
David Gallego, maybe. Who knows? But it looks. Well, we'll see how it is.
Gabe Polsky. Know anything by him?
Nothing,
Franco.
none so far. Gabe
I think
Polsky.
I looked him up, but I didn't recognize anything yesterday when I was looking up the director, Gabe Polsky. Nothing came up that I knew about. But anyways, again, this looks like a fucking great movie. Another great movie by Nicolas Cage. It's going to be a great end of the year for him, definitely.
Nice.
And I'm really looking forward to watching this. Really, another movie. I think this definitely should be watched on the big screen for those gorgeous landscapes, gorgeous Western landscapes. Coming
Yeah,
up to yes, Franco.
I was going to say he's got quite very well reviewed movies. A documentary on the Russian hockey team,
Yes, the
Red Army.
documentary. That's the one I think I had not. I haven't watched it, but I knew it existed. Let's put it that way. The documentary one about the Russian hockey team, right? You said.
There's also the one with Serena Williams. So first documentary is this his first? It seems like it's his. Yep, it's his first fiction.
Okay.
Feels like.
Interesting. Interesting. Interesting.
Anyway, next up,
we've got Paul Mescal and Andrew Scott, who I think are a match made in heaven, who are smitten in first All of Us Strangers trailer. And guys, if you haven't watched this trailer, please go watch this trailer because it looks bloody great. I'm going to get into
That
it again.
this shot is amazing, man,
Oh
Nestra.
my god. Oh my god.
It's
Oh my
maybe,
god.
I hope it's shot on film, man,
Oh
because
my god.
those colors, man.
So, what
Uh,
is All of Us Strangers about? And then we'll get into it, Franco. The time aspect. I wanted to ask you about it,
mm,
Franco. Like you noticed it in the trailer. Time is unraveling at a bizarre pace in the first official trailer for Andrew Hayes' latest feature-length film, All of Us Strangers. The Paul Mescal and Andrew Scott led film promises to blend all the excitement of the early stages of a romantic relationship with a bit of fantasy and even intrigue as one of the men tries to understand how his past is showing up in the present. Also starring Jamie Bell and Claire Foy, the film's teaser
yeah.
shows that while Hay will closely follow the plot first made famous in Taisha Yamada's novel Strangers, he'll also add his unique spin. It's set in present day London. The trailer lays out the meeting of the two main characters, Adam and Harry, after Harry catches Adam gazing at him through his apartment window. And that shot, stunning. With an obvious mutual attraction, the pair's meet cute sparks a fast moving relationship. When Harry asks Adam about his past, specifically about a photo of his parents, Adam decides that maybe it's time to go back to his hometown. And then obviously the story develops from
Okay.
there. I think, Franco, this looks insane. Like I told you already, this looks like it's going to be my after sun of 2023. What do you think?
Who knows? I still have to reconsider After Sun, but we've got two great leads with not just two great leads, four great leads.
Yes,
Jamie
we got
Bell, Claire Foy,
Claire
Mescal, what's his name? The priest from Fleabag. That's
Scott,
how
Andrew
Andrew
Scott.
Scott. Andrew Scott. And Andrew Haig, I liked his first. I think it was called Weekend. His first outing. Excuse me. Yeah, Weekend. Oh, and he's also got 45 years, which apparently was very highly
Hmm.
regarded.
Lean on Pete, I can see here as well.
Lean on Pete, I haven't seen, but
I haven't watched these. Are
hmm.
they? Does he like to focus a lot on LGBTQ plus movies?
His first movie Weekend was LGBTQI.
Hmm.
So and it was a very interesting outing. I enjoyed it with Tom Cullen.
Hmm.
Um, uh, and yeah, it was interesting. I forgot it. Oh my god, I need to see. I need to. How shall I say? I need to do a huge rewatch.
Hmm. It's so good to see Claire Foy's again. I don't think I've watched her in something. I think in a very long time. To be honest, she's such a great actress. I did think the two things that I took out from this trailer, Franco. First of all, the
Hmm.
chemistry between the leads is, oh boy,
No,
amazing. Looks
it looks strong, and all of his movies are very highly rated. So I think they're in
yes.
good hands as well.
Mescal just there's something about that guy that he just wins. Like any movie he's
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
he's just a winner movie. And again, and he's got a great actor with him, Andrew Scott, who's fantastic in so many things. You know what I really liked him in? He was in Sherlock. Did you watch the Sherlock series with Benedict Cumberbatch?
Mush Moriarty, was he
He was
Moriarty?
Moriarty. He was
Yeah.
Moriarty, and he was insane in that. He was, I mean, literally in the series, he was actually insane, but like insanely good as well. Like he
Mm.
was such a great antagonist to Benedict Cumberbatch in that. Really good performance. Obviously, he was in the
Fleabag,
series Fleabag. He was in Fleabag as well. He was the priest. But,
the sexy priest.
the sexy. And then a lot of other very good stuff. So
Yes, yes.
again, like I said, this even from the first reactions as well. I mean, the trailer almost made me emotional.
Ah,
I mean,
man,
it did make me emotional. This scene, man, this
uh,
scene is PTSD from After Sun.
looks so good, man. The lights and the saturation. Oh, I want to create again because that's another thing. I feel so frustrated filming in vertical. Oh. Anyway, but
This scene looks insane. Like this scene, I'm just gonna play it because I mean we're not going to get blocked for it. for just this scene. But this scene looks, oh my god, so good,
Ah, but how good.
really good, really good. All of Us Strangers comes out in theaters on December 22nd. I'm really, really looking forward to watching this. I think this
Mm-mm.
has the potential to be one of my, if not my favorite movie of the year. Hopefully, it will come out before we get the 2023 best of list. Because sometimes that happens. A movie releases a month a little later on, and it doesn't make it on the list. But
But
anyways,
hey, it's in December. Maybe it will be a good Christmas present for us.
yes, definitely, definitely. Moving on to a couple of movies that I'm sure some of our viewers and listeners will probably know more about them than myself, because I know, I'm going to be honest with you, I know nothing about the Percy Jackson movies. I know nothing as well about the Hunger Game movies. But the first we're going to talk about is Percy Jackson and the Olympians, which is a series releasing on Disney Plus this December. Um, Get excited, demigods. Another new look at Disney Plus's upcoming Percy Jackson and the Olympians is here. Disney Plus has shared a teaser trailer for the series. It offers another action-packed glimpse at what to expect, series which debuts Wednesday, December 20th on the streamer. Based on Rick Riordan's beloved middle grade fantasy series, Percy Jackson and the Olympians centers on its title character, Percy, 12-year-old boy who, following an incident at school, learns about his godly heritage. And anyways, it goes obviously into all the
Mm.
fantasy elements and especially like the Greek mythos that there is. Franco, were you ever a fan of the books? Because I
I
never
I
really
read
got into them.
I read the books, yeah, but it was like back in the day when I was still a preteen almost. So it was the moment. Harry Potter. It was the peak Harry Potter time, and then all of these
Hmm.
books came out. Artemis Fowl, Percy Jackson. So it was that time. Percy Jackson, I enjoyed it. The movies, not that much. I remember what's his name. He really did a great. He had a great performance in Bullet Train. The guy who played the original Percy Jackson. Let me find his name. Bear with me a second. Um, uh, but it was so funny when I saw him. It's funny because it was directed by Chris Columbus, Logan Lerman.
Okay. Chris Columbus, who did the Harry Potter, right?
Mela, 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 and the Percy Jackson movies were not as strong, but
How
Logan.
would you like look at the quality of the books? Because again, I was always more into like super mature fantasy stories. So I
like
always more like Lord of the Rings and even more mature than Lord of the Rings, like super violent
no, no,
books.
okay, give me an example
Of what, Franco?
of apart from Lord of the Rings, what other fantasy titles?
I would read a lot of the Connie Gulden books. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, Connie Gulden. He had a lot of books like Gates of Rome. There was a series about Gates of Rome was about what's his name? Julius Caesar, like Julius Caesar from when he was a young kid
Uh,
growing up.
no,
So
no,
very, very mature, for
no.
example.
Then no, no. These are definitely like the
Wolf of the
characters.
Plains, for example, that was about the Mongols. Again, like very, very mature, involved
Historical.
a lot of like bloody scenes, lots of like even I'm gonna be honest, thinking about them now, they were a bit too sexual for my age, but they were. But that's the kind of books I like. There was the Viking series by Conor Gulden, the Dunstan, this one, Dunstan, the
Mm.
Seven Kings. What else? Those are the kind of like the books I
There,
really, really like to read.
there's definitely no sex in this, despite the Greek gods being very promiscuous. Promiscuous, No,
True.
no. This is basically for kids. The character is 12 years old. This is directed to those people who are just discovering like fantasy and the books. If kids still know what books are today, you know, what's a
You'll be
book?
surprised, Franco. You'll be
Oh, la- la-
surprised. There
I'm
are
I'm
still are a lot of kids who love to read.
I'm I'm joking. I'm joking, obviously. But yeah, I think this might create a new audience for the series of books.
Mhm, mhm. And it's a series, so I mean, it's there on Disney Plus. Like,
Mm-mm.
I'm quite sure if it's decent. And you had a look at the trailer, Franco.
No, no, this is my first look. I didn't pre-watch this, so
I don't know what to think
Lance,
about like the
Lance,
imagery. It looks very made for TV. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like the
Lance,
imagery.
Lance Reddick,
Yeah,
rest
Lance
in
Reddick.
peace.
Rest in peace, Lance Reddick. I think this might be his last production. Thankfully, it
Hmm.
wasn't that shitty Resident Evil series. Oh my god, honestly,
Oh my
I was
god,
scared that would be his last one of his last things.
I can't see.
What do you think about the visuals, Franco, from the few screenshots I'm showing?
Yeah, it looks very made for TV for sure. It's pretty.
It's kind of like the Netflix look, right? Like the Netflix or the Disney Plus look.
Yeah, the streaming look basically.
The streaming look, yeah.
It's
Some series like One Piece managed to beat that made for TV feel, generally because like in the case of One Piece, I had reviewed it. They have real life. They build the settings and whether it's the ships or whatever, or they shoot on location.
because of by the way, One Piece. Do they use lots of wide angle lenses? Because I noticed
Yes,
even
very very wide.
it's
Lots of them,
it's
especially
kind
in the
of
sea scenes.
no, but even for close-ups, man, it was very distracting. I didn't watch it, but I saw a clip of a very emotional scenes. Like, why the hell are you using a 24 millimeter? Because the face, I forgot what's her name. It was a female character. It's like she was having this emotional scene, and the face looked like so warped. It's like, is it for goofy purposes? And we have
Hey, hello, Joe.
Good
our Joe.
evening, everyone.
Good evening.
How are we all?
We're fine. We're fine.
Hero.
Yeah, oh, with
It's been a Monday.
it's been a one day for us too, by the way, not to
Oh no,
worry.
no, no! This isn't a flex of any kind. I'm just stating for myself. It has been a Monday.
No, no, it's not a flex reader for me. Don't worry.
It's definitely been a Monday. Jesus.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
you finish working at 5 to 8, it's been a Monday.
Monday.
Anyway, you're still alive. We're glad to have you back.
Thank you. Yes,
Uh,
I'm glad to be here. Luckily, my
and
luckily my work was done at my laptop right now, so all it took was a flick of a button to
Nice.
come
Nice.
into this.
nice, nice, nice.
How are you, Joe?
Um,
Summer? Apart from
Um,
the Monday.
I'm okay. I've watched a couple of things, so I actually have a little bit to contribute. Excited to see more things this week. I know you guys saw Bottoms. I haven't seen Bottoms yet.
Oh, you haven't
Okay.
watched Bottoms?
No, no.
Okay,
I
thought
think
you
I
watched
think
it.
I didn't. I decided to watch No One Will Save You instead last night.
Okay.
But we'll get to that. that's gonna be a good
The tone of is like, but I watched that instead.
I mean,
Already a hint.
spoiler. I enjoyed it. I liked it.
No, no,
So, um,
no.
but yeah, I
Spoiler,
think
spoiler. All of us enjoyed it, but
yes.
there
No,
is
we spoiler. We all enjoyed it, but there is much to discuss as well.
yes, yes.
But yeah, I saw Dumb Money as well, so I'll have that to talk about. But mostly excited for because it's getting very good early reactions for The Creator this week, which I think I will watch on
Yes. Oh my
Sunday.
God.
Ooh.
I'll try catch that in IMAX as well. So
It comes out in the weekend there as well, Joe.
on Thursday,
Thursday.
but
Okay.
I'm,
It
I'm
comes out on
quite
Friday
I'm
here.
busy. Am I busy on Friday? What am I doing on Friday? I am
On
busy on Friday.
IMAX.
I'm working on Friday. Of course, I'm busy.
That's an IMAX movie, yeah, from like the trailers and
Madonna.
from even what the first like reactions I've read,
Yeah,
like the visuals and like the cinematography looks. Ooh, boy.
all the
Looks
reactions are very
really
good so far. They're like, "Look,
Yep.
this is a very good original sci-fi." So
Yes.
I love original sci-fi, so I'm excited for that. But yeah,
When did you
Everyone's
say?
saying it's best sci-fi of the year. Sorry, Franco.
When did you say it's going to be shown in Malta? This
Friday, I
Friday.
think I think Friday it releases. Friday, because
Then
Wednesday
you got
Dumb Money comes out, and then Friday the Creator comes out.
some. Let me know what you're gonna do, because I'd be
Yes,
interested to go watch it.
definitely, definitely. I think I might go watch it with a few friends. I'll message you. I'll let you know when we're going.
Tie up.
Maybe my girlfriend will come as well. I don't know. I don't know if she'd like the Creator. I imagine she'd like the Creator. She liked Dune, so
she
and,
likes
and
you,
she
and so
Allora.
she
liked
likes the creator.
Blade Runner.
The creator
So
seems like more action focused as well. So
it
Yes,
does
yes,
seem
yes.
more. It's like a mixture of like I'm looking at it like Blade Runner meets a bit of Rogue One.
Yeah, the Rogue One influence is obvious, but like,
Yeah, yeah. And the Blade Runner, because of obviously you've got the AI, human
Yeah.
AI. It's a mixture of those, basically, from what I'm getting from the trailers. Obviously, I'm super excited for that. So we'll review it next week, obviously.
And-
Joe, we were talking about Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I don't know if you want to say anything about that.
I'll actually just so I feel like I contributed something, because I mean I don't really care about Percy Jackson and the Olympians, but I have a funny anecdote about a story which happened to me about the author Rick Riordan.
Okay.
So when he first released the books, he did like a whole like worldwide book tour, and he happened to come to Malta. This was
Yeah,
when
it's
I
true.
was in
It's true.
I was in Form 2 when this happened. So I was 11 going on 12, I believe. So that's how long ago. I'm 29 now.
this. Shit.
It's a long time ago. I don't feel like doing maths. But he happened to come to my school, St. Martin's College, and he gave like a little talk and stuff. And being the American that he is, like trying to connect with kids and stuff, he said like, oh, like all kids obviously love candy, right? And he was asking people what their favorite candy is. Now he was meaning candy, like even like a chocolate bar is candy to them because reasons. I don't know why. Anyway, he asked everyone like what their favorite candy is, and he's like, oh, like my favorite candy is taffy. And he brought out a piece of Laffy Taffy that he had, and he had a whole like it had a small selection of them which he'd brought with him from America. Now you can buy Laffy Taffy now at like most sweet shops in Malta, but this was in the Stone Age basically.
I have no idea what Laffy Taffy is, by the way.
Taffy is basically like, it's similar to like a Mawam sweet. It's kind of like soft and chewy. They're quite good, actually. Taffy, I quite like it. But he said, it's like, okay, I've got like a small quiz. It's like, I've got 5 pieces of taffy to give out, and whoever gets like an answer right gets a piece of taffy. And like my claim to fame was the first question he asked, I put my hand up and I got it right, and I got a piece of taffy. And to this day, I always remember it, because his like the question was, who was the leader of the Greek gods? Put my hand up, Zeus. God of War came in handy over there. I mean, not just God of War. That was a joke. As a child, I was actually quite a Greek mythology like dork as well. So, but that
Do
is
you still have the taffy, Joe?
No, I ate the taffy quite instantly. I was a very chubby child. So,
nice one.
but yes, that is all I have to say about Rick Riordan and Percy Jackson.
We just said. I mean, it has a very like straight to TV look. I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready
probably the
to
best part
commit
about this
8
one is that
hours.
apparently he is involved in it. Like the actual author is involved. The films are fucking terrible.
I haven't watched the film, so
the films are really bad. And to be fair, like it's got a kind of like, I guess not schlock, but it does have like a kind of like charm which would do well for TV, and I don't see why not, like to appeal to like teenagers. So it should be trying to appeal to teenagers.
Exactly.
But
Hopefully,
yes,
it doesn't go
I
the Willow
digress.
route, though.
No.
The Willow. I mean,
I was reminded of Willow, by the way. I'll tell you why I was reminded of Willow in one of our reviews later on.
all right.
You'll be surprised because
I think
different performance from one of.
If you make a connection between Willow and No One Will Save You, I don't know how you've rated No One Will Save You as high as you have.
Bottoms.
Okay, with Bottoms.
Willow and Bottoms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're interested in a good adult fantasy, I would say American Gods by Neil Gaiman. Andrea.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yes, I've heard of that.
I tried.
haven't read it, but
I tried watching some of that, but in the first episode, spoiler, when a woman kind of consumed a man with her vagina, I was like, maybe this isn't for me.
Oh my god! What the fuck? So funnily enough, I came up on a Twitter thread of like fantasy books you need to read, and like the top one was that one, Franco.
American Gods.
Yes, that was the first book that was mentioned. Like Lord of the Rings and
read the book. Read the books though. the series it's a love-hate relationship with me. I know it's continued, but Ian McShane is Ian McShane. There's also Ian McShane in it. So, but otherwise, yeah, that was actually a very funny. That was a very funny sequence when he's gobbled up. He's like he's enjoying himself. He's like, bloop. Anyway,
One final trailer, guys. Don't know how you are with the Hunger Games lore. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was never interested in watching the Hunger Games.
I'm gonna reveal I was in deep with the Hunger Games when I was a teenager.
Okay.
I loved the
Yeah.
books.
I did
Nice.
love the books as well.
The books I still think are very, very good young adult fiction. Like
Okay. My girlfriend loves them. My girlfriend.
the
really,
movie
really
the
likes them.
movies are like the movies I would call them. They're decent adaptations. Like they're very faithful to the books, and they put like the important shit in there.
Good.
Yeah, the first movie in particular is actually very good. I have to give it that. The
Yes,
first movie is
yes,
very
yes.
Good. So maybe I'll have. Oh, there's your the movie you mentioned. Franco.
Toxic Avenger.
So yeah, I think this might be an interesting series to rewatch with my girlfriend, maybe, because she said she really likes the Hunger Games movies. I don't know why I never got into them.
Some of the CGI will be really dated now.
Oh, yeah, ma,
Like I even
used
remember
to
at the time the scene where like she wears I forget his name.
The
Sinner-
fire,
Sinner,
yeah.
I think he was the fashion designer who makes their clothes.
Yes.
The jacket he makes them made of fire. Even back then didn't look very good. So I don't think it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna look great now.
Were they expensive productions? I think they were
Fairly,
cheap, right?
fairly expensive.
Fairly, yeah.
Because they were a big hit. I remember
Yeah.
the cinemas were packed for
The,
them.
the very best thing about them is that you've got someone as charismatic and talented as Jennifer Lawrence leading them.
Jennifer
And
Lawrence.
she's very, very good in them.
And there was the song. I remember the song. Oh my god, everyone was playing the bloody song.
There were a couple.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, there were a
Anyways.
couple from it. The soundtracks were very good, to be fair. So
Nice. I love good soundtracks. So yeah, I'll try them. I'll try them because this one looks interesting. I'm going to be honest with you. Because just over 2 months remain until audiences can head back to Panem as the Hunger Games, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, November 17 release draws closer. We've got a trailer to talk about here. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is set 64 years prior to the original The Hunger Games trilogy. Delves more into the life of arguably one of the worst of Panem's citizens, Coriolanus Snow. Just 18 years old, Coriolanus hasn't yet become the tyrannical man audiences would come to know decades later. Instead, he is the Snow family's last hope at salvaging their reputation, which has taken a massive hit in post-war capital. Anyways, and then obviously there's Rachel Ziegler in this, who's, oh my god, Twitter and Rachel
Snow White
Ziegler
too.
haven't been going very well together. I don't know if you've heard about that.
Almost Snow White.
Yeah, lots of interviews where she's being like misquoted or like taken out of context. To be fair, no, I'm gonna be honest. Even I was like, did you have to say that?
Twitter out of context, really?
Again, I try to like be as fair as possible. Some of the stuff she says is a bit snobbish, but that's another argument. But overall, from what I saw, I think this production design looks quite decent. Very digital looking, but
yeah,
it looks okay.
It adds up with the previous ones as well. They were extremely digital looking. So,
What do you think, guys? Joe, I don't know if you want to start since you seem to know quite a bit about the lore of the Hunger Games.
I mean, I know about the lore, but like, I'm gonna be honest. I'm 29 years old. I don't really care. Like, I liked them when I was like 16, 17, and 18, and they were fun. Like, so were the movies, and I guess like it's pretty cool. Like the whole concept and stuff. It is a fairly like unique post-apocalyptic world that they have built. But I just don't know if I care. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's like good like young adult stuff. You know?
I don't think it's a very gritty, right, post-apocalyptic world, though.
No, it is. I mean, do
It
you
is?
know the concept behind the Hunger Games?
No, I know the concept, but like, no, when I'm talking
it's getting
about,
teenagers to kill each other. Like,
but like, does it show stuff, or is it like, oh, he's?
I mean,
dead,
the films didn't really show stuff. I think the highest rated film in terms of age was Mockingjay Part 2, which was a 12A rating rather than a PG-13. The books didn't like. I mean, they didn't go like deep into it, but they didn't exactly like shy away from stuff as well. Like injuries and deaths were described pretty well, I would say.
You know why the reason I'm mentioning that, Joe, is because everyone looks so clean and everyone looks so like clean shaven and so young.
True.
Minus.
Yeah,
True.
but I mean, this is meant to be very early in. It's like inception, I guess, of the Hunger Games. And like to be fair, like I don't know what district Rachel Zegler's character is meant to be from, but like at least in the Jennifer Lawrence films, she's from like the worst butt fuck nowhere dog shit district.
Yeah,
Like everything's
district.
grey and shit, and all they have is bread. Like
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
so
Fair
this
enough.
would be different. I mean, but then like the actually like the rich people of like Panem, like Corday in the Snow and stuff like that. Like that's meant to be glitzy and totally clean.
All
and
right.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
this
So,
district 1, no? Yeah.
Yeah, those ones they're meant to be. They're the high society like dickheads,
Yeah.
basically.
Okay. All right. Franco, your thoughts?
Oh, the production design looks good, looks great. We were discussing this as well. Again, did we really need another Hunger Games? Considering having seen like a movie like Dream Scenario coming up soon, so again, I think this is, and I agree with Joe saying that he needs like this is basically for young adults. So I mean, they might enjoy it. Okay, I'll watch it. I'll watch it if I have nothing else to watch. You know, it's like something I like. This is like a light entertainment I'd watch with my father. You know,
I don't really know who the film is for, because like if you made these spin-offs 3 years after the first movies came out, fair enough. Like strike while the iron is hot kind of thing. You wait 10 years and most of your audience is like me, nearly 30 years old.
The
Unless we're
18-year-olds are
diehards,
now
we don't give a
28,
shit.
right?
Yeah. Unless we're
This came
diehards, we
out
don't give a shit. Like,
10 years ago, Joe. This came out 10 years ago.
I would say, yeah, definitely close to 10 years ago, the first one at least.
Like,
Yes,
like
yes.
2012, right? I think.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to hit the nostalgia button with this one as well. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
if I want to, like, being frank, now if I want to rewatch something about teenagers killing each other, I'll just boot up Battle Royale. Like,
Ooh, Mwah. Oh my god.
Oh, don't remind me of Battle Royales. I mentioned this before. Oh,
Why?
because of Warzone. The
Ah,
Warzone 1.
okay.
They closed down the Warzone 1 servers. Joe, don't know if you've heard of it.
they did.
Yeah, Activision closed down the Warzone 1 servers completely. I don't know why. But that means all the money that people have spent on skins and everything
Is
dropped.
Are they
It's
going
not-
to
it's
refund
not-
those people?
The dark abyss.
no, it's now worth like an NFT basically.
Don't say they're stupid. I spent some money as well. It was
No.
COVID. I was lonely and alone. And I wanted a ghost skin.
No, it's
you bought a skin for your character that you don't see because it's a first-person game.
No, but I see it when I'm killing others and I see highlights. Once,
yeah, he
once
was
I-
he
I
was
I won't delve further.
Once-
Joe,
I'm gonna mention this.
he was his enemy skins basically. That's how violent he became during
I'm
COVID.
going to mention this and then we're going to move on. Once, I actually found out I killed quite a famous streamer on Twitch. And
Oh my
I
God.
went to that streamer's Twitch and I went back and recorded myself killing that streamer, basically.
What's
So I
the
did
what's
see
the
my
stream?
skin there.
What's
He
the
was
streamer's name?
Italian. I can't remember the name, honestly.
Hey, che cazzo,
Well,
Andrea.
he was Italian, though. He was a very good player. Huh? I was surprised I killed him.
Okay.
Actually. But that was back in the delves of peak COVID.
360 no scope.
Yeah. Anyways, I think we can move on to the news. And again, we don't really have much with regard to news. By the way, guys, let us know in the comment section below any of these trailers which have piqued your interest. Lots of interesting movies and series, so and so. To watch in the coming months, let us know if any of these trailers have piqued your interest in the comment section below. Not much in the way of news. I just found this interesting, a couple of interesting quotes by Michael Caine. First one is about his retirement, where he's like, I'm fucking 90, I'm done. That, I mean, the way he said it, even just the way he said it, made me laugh. Like even his role in this, they gave me a very good walking stick, and I was able to do scenes that needed that. I just do them once, and then fall over. But just one take, that's it, forget it. Like the great escaper. And he also mentions like, listen, I'm done with this, right? Another quote I found by Michael Caine, which I found quite funny. I mean, but again, keeping in context, he's 90, um, where he comments about the role of intimacy coordinator, where they're like, he says, really? Caine responded when asked for his thoughts on the role. Seriously, what are they? We never had that in my day. Thank God I'm 90 and don't play lovers anymore, is all I can say.
I mean, as if he can play lovers anymore, you know. So
And just let me just mention this because it's really funny. In my days, you just did the love scene and got on with it without anyone interfering. It's all changed. I mean, all right, let me start this with the fact that Michael Caine seems like a really nice guy. I'm going to start with
no,
that. Very grumpy guy, but he seems nice. Even from everything I've read about him on Reddit, people who have met him, he seems like a real nice guy, like real gentleman. He's like super nice with everyone he meets, all the fans. That's what I've read about him. I don't know. Again, those are just comments. Don't know if you want to say anything about these. I just found them these two comments quite hilarious.
you know, one of the latest movie that was that had an intimacy coordinator was the Netflix adaptation of Lady Chatterley's Lover, and I wouldn't have known that they had an intimacy coordinator because basically they looked very natural, very, you know, sex like sex should look like basically. So I mean, then again, he's a product of his own time. Can't expect anything else from Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
Michael
Yeah, I was gonna say
Caine.
like he is 90 years old. Like
By the way,
he was
by the-
doing love scenes probably when he was like from his 20s to his 30s, which is
Oh.
like it's a long time ago.
That's a long time.
a long time ago, back in the
I'd be surprised if they had like camera grips back then, let alone a fucking intimacy coordinator.
We're talking
For
about the
sure.
late 40s.
Yeah,
and
it
50s.
predates digital film when he was doing love scenes.
Yeah, exactly. By the way,
Jesus.
guys, have you seen the Ipcrest file or Get Carter by his?
I love Get Carter.
Get Carter, very good.
Love Get Carter.
Ostia. Okay, I still have to watch because there was a movie that really looked amazing. I don't know if it was the Ipcrest file or Get Carter. But Get Carter
Get
is
Carter is really, really fucking great. Like
Mike Hodges. By the way, Michael Caine was also in Malta as well to Pulp. He filmed Pulp in Malta.
Okay. Anyway,
And you know how to say his name like he's saying it like say my cocaine. My
Yeah.
cocaine.
Michael Caine. And I love how he just pops up in every one of Nolan's movies. Like he's just there, like
Yeah,
5 minute professor scene or 5 minute British intelligence officer scene. And
Yeah.
Was he in he was in Oppenheimer as well, right?
No, I
no,
think
I
it's
think
the
it was
first one.
the
He didn't.
first Nolan movie in ages, which he hasn't been in. But he was in Tenet,
Ah,
for
okay,
example.
okay.
He was the British intelligence officer.
He was
Yes, yes,
he was technically in Dunkirk as well. He has a voice
Yes,
line
yes.
in Dunkirk.
But I don't know what was he in Dunkirk.
He has just a voice line, like you don't see him. He's an announcer on a radio.
Oh shit! Okay, I forgot that. But I think it was pretty much in everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah,
Almost.
from
now-
Batman Begins onwards, he was in everything.
Yeah. And now it's
Prestige
gonna
was in?
Yep.
Yes,
Of
yes.
course he was in Prestige. Yes. No.
now it's being taken over by Kenneth Branagh.
True.
Yeah, he's got a big thing for Kenneth Branagh at the moment.
Yes, yes.
Like to be fair, like 3 in a row: Dunkirk, Tenet, and Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer.
Tom
He was
Hardy
good
was
in
on quite the
Oppenheimer.
run as well.
True.
Cillian
True.
Murphy, another one who has appeared in Batman Begins, in The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises, Inception, Dunkirk. I don't think he's in Tenet, but he's in Oppenheimer.
Tenet.
No.
I don't believe
No,
he's
I
in
don't
Tenet.
remember. It's a really good sign when directors have like these favorites, these actors who always want to be with them.
Yeah.
It's such a good sign.
It's a good chemistry between them, you know, working
And
working.
the fact that Nolan is such an efficient director, like the fact that he filmed Oppenheimer in like 45 days, which is insane. Looking
Yeah,
at how long
man
certain
knows what he
Marvel
wants.
projects take. like 3 months, and then the refilming, and then the refilming of the refilming, and then the post production where they completely change the final 30 minutes of the movie, and then they have to bring in the actors again and refilm the action scenes. I'm looking at Black Widow,
Black Widow.
where you've got literally Florence Pugh with a green screen behind her, staring at the screen and not knowing what the fuck she's supposed to be doing. Like, and then looking at Oppenheimer, a 3-hour epic filmed in 45 days, ready, done, shot, ready, edited,
Yeah,
boom.
45 days. That's a trivia I didn't know. Wow,
Insane, man, insane. He's
insane.
such an efficient director, and all the actors say that about Nolan, how like efficient and how effective he is with his direction, and like scene, 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 and so really, just efficient. Like, and it's not just rushing stuff. Clearly, there's a lot of love
No,
for
no, but Astra,
Oppenheimer.
I think it felt with Oppenheimer. I think that's why it felt so, despite it being 3 hours long. It's like I felt the momentum going and going and going. Astra is really,
But that's the editing then. No, the editing
mm.
of Oppenheimer is insane. Like the build up,
but,
the
but
build
there
up to the
is.
bomb, and then the build up to the final climactic scene with Robert Downey Jr. That to doom is
Mm,
really well done. Really well done. Anyways, that's Oppenheimer. We've reviewed that and talked about that.
ages ago, yeah.
Good
All
news.
right.
Finally, we have a deal. WGA AMPTP reach historic contract agreement to end 146-day writer's strike. Jesus, 146 days. This deal is exceptional. Hollywood heaves a sigh of relief. The WGA and major studios and streamers have reached a tentative agreement on a new 3-year contract that promises to end the 146-day strike that has taken a heavy toll across the content industry. Negotiators for the Writers Guild of America and Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers reached the finish line Sunday after 5 consecutive days of negotiations. Day 4 on Saturday mostly involved lawyers for the Guild and AMPTP hashing out the fine print of language around complicated and groundbreaking additions to WGA's minimum basic agreement. Nitty-gritty details of language around the use of generative AI in content production was one of the last items that the sides worked on before closing the pact. In fact, I think they were saying, like on Friday, they were saying like the last issues we have to cover are kind of like AI and generative AI, how we're going to deal with that in writing. They were
Hmm.
looking also at like having a minimum amount of writers in each studio, basically in each writing room. They basically, I think, they managed to tackle all of that. We can say with great pride that this deal is exceptional, with meaningful gains and protections for writers in every sector of the membership. WGA's negotiating committee wrote in an email sent to members at 7:10 p.m. Pacific time. So, good news. Finally, we've reached an end,
Te-
apparently.
Tentative,
Not, and as
tentative.
Tentative.
well, not just yet as well. Because,
So
as it says there, the strike itself will still be enforced through the Guild's
In
contract
fact,
approval and
yeah.
ratification.
yes,
And
yes.
also, apparently, the Writers Guild do not intend to return to work until AMPTP have struck a deal with SAG-AFTRA as well.
A SAG after as well, yes. If they
Because
stand in
because
solidarity.
yeah, in solidarity, because SAG-AFTRA backed them up in the strike as well.
Yeah,
So it's good, but it's not the end.
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes. But it's a good start. It's a good start.
Yes,
Was
It's
most
huge
most
step, huge
yeah,
step.
yeah, yeah.
finally.
Franco, you're going
The,
to say?
no, but there was like Joe basically took the words right out of my mouth, and I was gonna say there might be loopholes. Okay, so let's see.
Yeah.
But
Let's
I
see. But
was
that's
looking at Twitter, like everyone was so negative about their ever reaching an agreement. Like looking at even I've been following a lot of writers on Twitter as well who comment about this, and everyone was like so negative. Like we're never going to reach a deal. This is never going to end. Like that was kind of like the mood I was getting of
mm,
writers of big shows as well, not just small time writers. So at least to see some positivity this weekend, I think it started around Friday. I started to see like news pop up on Twitter of like some positivity coming around, and that listen, there might be some hope. Listen, we're tackling AI. Listen, we're tackling like I mentioned, the minimum amount of writers in each writers' rooms, and one by one, these issues started to be like, yeah, okay, I think we've kind of reached kind of like a middle ground here. So it's good. It's good to have some positive news on this
yes,
on
yes.
this. Thing. I don't know if you want to add anything, Joe.
No, nothing to add.
Franco?
Same here.
Okay,
Good step.
dokies. But finally, that seems to be going in the right direction. Now it's up to the actors. We'll see if the actors can, like the writers, be satisfied with their demands. But that again is up to the AMPTP. Let's move on to the reviews, guys. We've got
But
a
be-
bunch of stuff to review.
But
Franco.
before, what should our fans do, Joe, Paulella?
Our fans should, as always, like, subscribe. You should comment on this if you want to comment about any of the news, about any of the reviews we're going to do. Obviously, comment at the end of the video once you've heard the reviews. And this is something I started saying in the Venice episode. Sit down with your friends. Tell your friends about the Ad Lib podcast. They might ask you what the Ad Lib podcast is in itself, and if you listen to it, you can tell them. Send it to your parents, send it to your grandparents, send it to your brother, to your sister. Send it to everyone. This is a show for everyone. We welcome everyone over here. So
Yes. And also make sure to comment that Andrea should watch The Empty Man.
yes,
Yes.
episode
40
100
episodes.
episode
60
episode 50,
episodes to go.
Episode 50, the Empty Man special coming up. I just announced it. Now we have to do it.
We're 40 episodes in, guys.
Well, you got 10 episodes until we have to do it. So that's 10 weeks. That's 10 weeks you've got to watch this film.
Do you know how long Rebels is, Joe?
Yes, 'cause I fucking watched it.
No, but Oppenheimer is fine. It's 3 hours long. But Empty Man, no, Empty Man.
Franco. Franco.
Wow.
So that's as wild as comparing Jordan Peele's Nope to No One Will Save You. Spoilers for the review, but we'll get
there. Joe, shall we start with Dumb Money? Just to introduce the review section of the podcast, we're going to have reviews for Dumb Money. Franco, you
Wait,
want something?
no, Lies of P first, right?
I can start with Lives of P if you want. I can start.
Yeah,
with Lies of
so
P
that there's the gaming section first, obviously.
All right,
We
so I'll
always
start
forget
with Lies
the
of P. I'll give you my review for Lies of P. Then Joe can do Dumb Money. Then Franco, you can review Bottoms.
Oh no, do Hunting in Venice first, and then we do Bottoms since we both watched
All
it.
right. So Hunting in Venice.
Wait. You went to go and see Haunting in Venice, and you still haven't watched the fucking Empty Man.
But Hunting in Venice is a new movie.
Technically, a film you haven't seen is a new movie.
And it's in cinemas. I love to go to cinema. Like if a cinema were to show The Empty Man, I might consider. Actually, I would go watch it.
Well, it's not going to because it doesn't even have a fucking Blu-ray release at this point. So.
Exactly.
But start watching it at home. Like I have so much stuff to do.
Boo-hoo on your 4K TV and your great sound system. My life is so hard and shit.
And like if I'm gonna watch a 3-hour movie, I'm like maybe I should watch Lawrence.
It's
of
not
Arabia
3
again.
hours. It's like 2 hours 48.
2 hours.
Or maybe I should rewatch Lord of the Rings for the 30th time.
Oh Jesus!
But yes, Joe, I watched The Haunting in Venice today in the cinema. So then I'll give the review for that. That's going to be quite a short review. And then we have the big two, right? We've got Bottoms. Franco, you can take care of Bottoms, and then obviously I give my comments about that, and then the final one, the big one. No One Will Save You. It's been a big deal, even on Twitter. I'm really impressed how much discourse that movie has picked up on
traction.
Twitter. Lots and lots of that. I just wish it came out in cinema.
People love a genre film. People love genre. The Academy needs to stop looking down on genre. People love genre.
But, Mana, let me start off with the game of the week. Well, game of the week. Game of the month. Well, to be fair, a lot of new games have been coming out recently. There's also the Cyberpunk 2077 2.0 update.
Where they finally finish the game.
Yeah, basically. which looks really good. I'm going to be honest with you. The gameplay looks great. But Lies of P. Joe, how many of the Dark Souls games have you played? Like all of them? Bloodborne, Sekiro?
I have played Dark Souls 3. I have played a couple of hours of Bloodborne because I'm still one of those schlubs waiting for a remaster or at least like something from Software or Sony. I have played Elden Ring and I have played Sekiro.
So look at this, Joe. What does this remind you of?
It looks like I've seen Lies of P. I'm actually fairly interested in it.
all
But
right.
it
Okay.
looks
Okay.
exactly like it looks like what Bloodborne would be if it was remastered, basically.
Exactly.
With I mean,
Mm.
with a bit like less like darkness and like spooky
Mhm,
stuff.
mhm. Because of all the puppet stuff.
Yes.
So let me introduce Lies of P to our viewers and listeners. So Lies of P is a. Maybe I should skip this part because of spoilers. Lies of P is a thrilling Souls-like game that takes the story of Pinocchio, turns it on its head, and sets it against the darkly elegant backdrop of the Belle Epoque era. It's basically an interpretation of the Pinocchio lore,
Steampunk
basically.
Pinocchio.
And I'll get into the story and so on later on. But all these elements that you can see right now on screen, like the gameplay wise, exploring and the visuals, you can see they're really well done. So, anyways, Lies of P. It's a third-person action game, as you can tell. Basically, you control Pinocchio. This is Pinocchio, the character you control. That's why it's Lies of P, Lies of Pinocchio. In this like Souls-like game. Now, inspirations, like Joe said, obviously clearly can see there's lots of inspiration from Bloodborne. The thing about its inspiration from Bloodborne is it takes more like the visual inspiration from Bloodborne. Whilst looking at the gameplay, I thought this was going to play exactly like Bloodborne. Surprisingly, it did play a bit more like Sekiro, playing
Okay.
it personally, which was weird because it really doesn't look like it when you're watching it, right? When you're watching it, this looks exactly like Bloodborne. But when you come to the tougher enemies, to the bosses and so on, it plays a lot like Sekiro, where you've got a lot of parrying. The boss attacks and you parry, 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 parry. Like that's basically the combat with the big boss. Let me see if I can find the big boss.
Geppetto.
Okay, this is going to be a boss. Anyways, so the gameplay and my biggest issues with this game are unfortunately the gameplay. Now, for context, I might have mentioned this, I think, when we talked about Elden Ring. I love. I think Dark Souls 1 is one of the best games ever made. I think Dark Souls 2 is okay. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I played through it and I never played it again. Dark Souls 3, I have like 200 plus hours in Dark Souls 3, like playing online constantly, constant duels online, and then fighting. Then I played Bloodborne because Bloodborne, I took me a while to play Bloodborne, and Bloodborne became like my favorite game of all time. Like Bloodborne is my personal favorite game I've ever played. I've never played a game I think better than Bloodborne. And obviously then there's Sekiro, which is again another one of my all-time favorite games. Elden Ring, which I liked a lot. I didn't love though. But the issue with Elden Ring was more the like open world. I'm done with open world games. I can't deal with like traveling in open worlds. I'm just so burnt out of those games. The combat in Elden Ring again, and the dungeons and being in castles and so on, those aspects were amazing. I love them, but any open world, anytime I was in the open world, unfortunately, that's my problem. I was burnt out. So that's to give you some context. So I have a decent knowledge of like these Souls-like games. With regard to Lies of P, unfortunately, gameplay wise, it is a little bit too clunky for my liking. And this is coming from someone who loves Dark Souls 1 and who still boots up Dark Souls 1, which is very clunky nowadays. But this is like super clunky.
I mean, it is a puppet.
It is a puppet, true. So there is that element. It is a puppet, true. Now, my biggest issue with it is that this game doesn't know if it wants to be Bloodborne or Sekiro, because you've got gameplay elements from both. Now, that could be a me problem as well. And I need to be a little honest with this review. That could be a me problem as well. When playing this game, there were times I was trying to play it like it was Bloodborne, because that's how it felt like it wanted me to play it. And there were times like I was trying to play it like it was Sekiro. What do I mean? With Bloodborne, it's more about dodge, 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 attack. Dodge, take damage, attack back, because you could recover your health when you attack the enemy. And then sometimes it felt like I was meant to parry, 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 parry. You have like that dance, like in Sekiro, right, where you're attacking and parry, 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 stagger. Okay, next phase. parry, 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 parry. So it's like the game doesn't know if it wants to be Sekiro, Bloodborne, or I think it just wants to be a mixture of both. Now, the big issue comes not with the smaller enemies who are easy enough to defeat, with the bosses. Because, again, some of the bosses feel like they come straight out of Bloodborne. Some of the bosses feel like they come out straight out of Sekiro, which you would think is a good thing. But you know how with Souls-like games, Joe, because I'm sure you've had this experience, you're playing, and finding it really hard. And then suddenly, something like clicks, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, shit, I get it now.
Yeah. I got good.
But you're fighting one of those really tough bosses. And you're like, oh my God, now I get the parry system. And then the game really becomes much, much easier. Then, no, I wouldn't call it easy, but it feels easier though to you because you get. This game doesn't have that because you face a boss. It's like you're playing Bloodborne. Next boss, completely different gameplay style. Now you're playing Sekiro, where you're supposed to parry, 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 parry. Next up, you have this big boss again, and now it feels like it's Dark Souls, where you have this guy slamming down. So you never get into that rhythm where you're like, oh, okay, now I've got it. And you never have that like click moment where you're like, okay, now I get it. Because clearly this game takes a lot of inspiration from all these games. So the dodging is a bit clunky. I'm going to sum it up basically. Dodging is very clunky because I made a list of all the issues I have with it before I get into the positives. You have perfect blocking, which is like parrying in Sekiro, where like you have to make a perfect block. The problem with the perfect block is that there are no iframes in this game. So any dodge, no iframes there. If you're anywhere near an attack, you get hit. It's not like in especially Bloodborne, which I think is kind of like gives you a lot of iframes in that game with regard to dodges. So there's that. I had another issue with a lot of bosses, where they are so aggressive, incredibly aggressive, number one. And number two, there are a lot of very big bosses, and you cannot see their hands. So whenever you see where they're building up to an attack, you're like, imagine this is the camera, and this is the build-up, and you're not sure what's going on because you're looking obviously from underneath. And then suddenly, boom! You're like, Jesus. I had literally not even a split second to try and parry that. Those are some issues. Camera issues as well, glitching into some characters. I had that issue as well. And the biggest issue for me personally, this is my gameplay style. I love to play with big weapons. I love big, massive, great swords, big, massive weapons to bam, slam my enemies with. And this game, your character has no poise, which is an issue. Because anytime you go in for a heavy attack, the fucking Dex opponent against you go, tuk, and your character, instead of tanking that hit and going for the heavy attack, does boom, and hits and falls back. So anytime you go for a heavy attack, you have this long winding build up. Your enemy does, tuk, and you're like, and then you fall back, and then you take a bunch of damage. So those are some of the issues I had with this game. Positives: customization, amazing customization of weapons. Visuals are amazing, really beautiful visuals. I love the world that they've built here. I love the way they use the lore of Pinocchio, like all that lore. Great stuff. Very atmospheric, great soundtrack, great sound design, very satisfying to get like stagger your opponents and so on. Very good voice acting, which I was shocked how good the voice acting is in this. Do I recommend it? Yes and no. If you have Xbox Game Pass for PC or Xbox Game Pass, definitely play it. Well worth it. Would I pay 60, 20 euros for it? I don't think so. I don't think I would. Overall, I gave it a 3 out of 5. I'm sure there are going to be people who love this because they really get it. I didn't get it, unfortunately. I didn't get it. It could be because I'm also getting old and slow. That could be a thing as well. So that's my review for Lies of P. Joe, shall we get into dumb money?
Sure, let's do it.
Well, 1 second.
So, Andrea, I'd suggest you play the Blasphemous games, man. There's the Blasphemous 2 coming out. Like, I've already seen the story analysis of it. I really like those games somehow. That mixture of Christianity and horror,
Okay,
for me,
all
it
right.
always works.
All right, okay. Like is it more like Diablo or?
No, it's
No,
more
no,
like
no,
it's
no.
more akin to like Castlevania.
Yes,
Ooh,
it's a
okay.
it's a Metroidvania. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not the first, because I know there was a first person game which had like these visuals as well, like very like dark hellish visuals.
That's
No,
Scorn,
that
I
was
think.
Scorn. Yeah,
That's
Scorn.
Scorn. That's Scorn. That's
No,
Scorn.
Blasphemous is like a side scroller.
Okay, all right. I'll have a look at it. Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Joe.
But
Dumb
anyway,
money.
Dumb Money. I don't really need to read what this is about because everyone knows what this film is about. This is the GameStop stock movie, directed by Craig Gillespie with a huge cast of Paul Dano, Shailene Woodley, Pete Davidson, Seth Rogen, Nick Offerman, Vincent D'Onofrio, Sebastian Stan is in this as well, and some others that I'm definitely forgetting. Oh yeah, Clancy Brown is in this for like all of 2 minutes. But anyway, this is the movie that everyone was waiting about, which came out really fast after it happened, based on the events of 2020 and 2021, where a large community of people from the Reddit page Wall Street Bets got together to follow this one content creator and YouTuber named Roaring Kitty, or Keith Gill, his actual name, and his bid to invest in GameStop as a stock, which he thought was undervalued. And in the process, they completely took it to Wall Street. They took down a hedge fund with it. Some people came out with huge amounts of money. Incredible story. I remember following this during lockdown and being like, I really wish I had jumped on this bandwagon beforehand and gotten into stocks because it would have been really interesting and profitable for my life if I had done so. But this is very much like in the style of Craig Gillespie's movies, where like stuff like I, Tonya, where it's very fast moving. There's lots of like very good needle drops and good music, which are like well timed and very intentional. It's very what I call like poppy, a movie like this. Like a lot of people will say like, oh, like this is just The Big Short for GameStop stocks, and it is not. It is not The Big Short whatsoever. The way The Big Short tells its stories and its information is, in my opinion, and it's looking back, it's a little bit lazy, where it's just the complete fourth wall breaks of like getting Margot Robbie to sit in a bathtub and be like, "This is what this means." In my opinion, this does things in a much better way, and it is kind of now becoming a frustrating trope of Hollywood films, which are about the internet, is they use the internet to tell the story. So intermittently throughout the film, they'll be using like various TikToks of people that are like actual TikTok videos that exist in the world of people explaining this stuff. They'll use news clips and stuff like that to tell this very impressive story. Now, it's good. I had a good time at the summer with it. It's not very long at all. As I said, it's very poppy. It's what I call a movie like this is it's extremely watchable. And the best thing about it is like I'm very much the kind of like person of, if you're going to tell the story of something based on a true story, I need to learn something new along the way. And there needs to be, you need to build stakes with it still. It's like what Oppenheimer did. The fact that like with Oppenheimer, I know what happens at the end of Oppenheimer. They build the atomic bomb and they bomb the fuck out of Japan. But the fact that in the countdown you're still there with a ball in your throat,
Mhm.
being like, "Holy shit, what's going to happen?" That's a testament to the filmmaking. It's why I come back and I have a problem with a movie like Air. Air has no stakes. I don't give a fuck about Nike signing a multi-billion-dollar deal with an athlete to make them even more money. I don't care. And this does have the stakes because it creates other different characters and how they've invested into the GameStop stock and whether they could lose that money. And then how Roaring Kitty, Keith Gill, had to actually have basically a trial in front of Congress for the things he was doing because he was getting subpoenaed by them. But to kind of conclude, yes, extremely watchable. It does because there's so many characters. So basically, you've got Keith Gill, you've got these two college girls, you've got this single mother, you've got this guy who's an actual GameStop employee, then you've got the actual hedge fund owner, you've got the guy who supports the hedge fund owner, you've got the guys who own the Robinhood app where people buy stocks. Like, there's so many characters and there's so much going on in this film, so it jumps around all the time. And these characters, obviously, they don't really intersect because it is a COVID movie as well. There's a lot of the movie. The person who has the most to do is Paul Dano, he's Paul Dano. He's great in everything he does, and he is really the heart and soul of this film. But there is a lot of Paul Dino being alone in front of a computer talking on a live stream. But it's always good because, sorry,
He's a YouTuber, right?
yes, he was a YouTuber at the time. But yeah, so there's a lot of that, but at least it's in the hands of Paul Dano, so you know you're in good hands when you're doing it. You could have gotten rid of certain characters here and there, I guess, but then again, it's not a long film. It's only an hour and 45 minutes. So I would say, like, don't go in expecting something akin to The Big Short, because The Big Short is a lot more aggressive in what it does, and it's a lot more visceral in its style of filmmaking. This is just a really extremely watchable film where you'll enjoy it. There are jokes, and you will learn something at the end of it all. Like, even though I followed it during lockdown, I didn't know the whole story, and there were things that I learned along the way. So, yeah, I was entertained. I do recommend it.
Nice. Okay. Do you have a rating for it, Joe?
For me, it is the definition and the perfect 3.5 out of 5 film.
Fair enough.
It doesn't do anything more or less than that.
Fair enough. All right, so that is Dumb Money. Now, really quickly, I'm just going to give a really quick review for A Haunting in Venice, because I'm going to be honest with you.
It sucks.
I wouldn't say it sucks. I had an okay time with it, to be honest. Venice is a beautiful city, lots of shots of Venice. It has actually some pretty scary stuff. Actually, I have the story here. Directed obviously by Kenneth Branagh, from a screenplay by Michael Green, based on the 1969 Agatha Christie novel Halloween Party. Obviously, we've got Branagh here portraying the Belgian detective Hercule Poirot. It's 1947, and Hercule Poirot lives in retirement in post-war Venice, employing former police officer Vitale Portofolio as a bodyguard. Anyways, long story short, he finds out about this. Medium, who's Michelle Yeoh, called Joyce Reynolds, and basically he goes there to prove she is a fraud, basically. And as the story develops, he kind of needs to solve was it a suicide, was it murder of a person named Alicia, and that obviously develops then the whole mystery of the movie. This is an interesting one because I haven't watched Murder on the Orient Express, which was the first one, the first of the 3 Branagh Agatha Christie adaptations. I watched the second one, Death on the Nile, which I didn't hate. I thought visually it's weird, I'll agree, but it has some fun elements as well. This one I enjoyed more than Death on the Nile. Reason being, the horror elements are actually surprisingly good. There were some moments where I was genuinely frightened. Like, genuinely, I was like, what the oh my God. Which was a problem because there were some of my students in the cinema, some of my ex-students on the front, being very noisy as well. But there was one moment where I was like, oh my God. Like, it was a really scary moment. There were some decent jump scares and this. Atmosphere-wise, very well done. It's mostly set in one house, basically. Most of the action takes place in one house. And it builds up the atmosphere really well. Very well shot as well. It was shot in digital, which is different to Death on the Nile. And I think even Murder on the Orient Express was shot on film. This was done on digital. But different to Death on the Nile, you don't have CGI, ancient Egypt in the background. At least here they're actually in Venice, filming in Venice, which is an improvement, obviously. Like I said, horror elements work really well. I'm going to be honest, I was quite disappointed with the way the murder mystery developed. So whilst the horror elements work really well in this movie, the mystery was a little tame compared to Death on the Nile. And what I've heard are very good stuff about Murder on the Orient Express with regard to like just the way the mystery develops. I was also impressed by how much focus was given on like the impact of the war on people who experienced World War II. There was a good focus on that as well, and with a number of characters talking about it, including obviously Hercule Poirot, whose character was in the war. So overall, I think it's a it's a decently made kind of mix. It's like it's a genre mix, right? Because you've got horror and you've got the mystery as well. And I think Branagh does a good balancing act here. Very, very good cast as well. Kenneth Branagh, Michelle Yeoh, Janie Dornan. There's also Tina Fey as well in this. Good, very good cast. Performances overall are really great. I especially love Jamie. Obviously, I love Jamie Dornan, who's a great actor. So overall, I was quite pleased with this. I'll think I'll give this a 3 out of 5. I think I'll give this a 3 out of 5. I think it's a fair rating. Negatives were the pacing. Sometimes it's really slowed down, like too much, way too slow down, way too much. Especially in the middle section, I was almost gonna fall asleep at times. But then it really picks up again, and the last part of the movie is great, really great. As is the introduction of the movie as well. The opening 30, 40 minutes are really good as well, which are the parts where we see a lot of Michelle Yeoh as well. But overall, it's a good 3 out of 5 movie. I think it's a. I enjoyed watching it in the cinema. Let's put it that way. So a decent movie. Probably the best of the three, I'd say, compared to best of what's it called now? Death on the Nile, because I haven't watched Murder on the Orient Express. So those are my thoughts on A Haunting in Venice. 3 out of 5 from me. Franco, do you want to tackle bottoms? And then I'll give my thoughts after.
Everyone wants to tackle bottoms, Nasif. So, but bottoms, the new comedy by Shiva Baby director Emma Seligman, also starring Rachel Sennott, who was also in Shiva Baby, and it's about two unpopular queer high school students starting a fight club to have sex before graduation. So basically, um, uh, it's like Revenge of the Nerds, but for the queer generation, almost you could say. Um, so okay, I think let's start with the negatives. It was overhyped. This movie is overhyped. Um, uh, and you have to get used to it. It takes a while for you to get used to this style, because it's even from the trailers, you think that this is a really straight comedy, but then there are certain elements in it where it's like, wait, this is operating on a different plane of reality, you know. And I was almost imagining like this would come out of a Rick and Morty universe, even with the fact there's some good black humor in it. um uh, I mean, there you go. It's like Pitch Perfect and Cocaine Bear. Cross them, and you get basically bottoms. Someone mentioned that it reminded them of Heathers. Did you say that, Andrea?
No, I said it's like it reminded me of Fight Club meets Mean Girls.
Yes, 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 yes. That's true. There was this kind of like flipping the script on Fight Club as well. Um, uh, but this is the thing that I had issue with. That you had to get used to the fact that this is all operating on a different plane of reality, and it was a satire as well. There's a big satire,
Hmm.
not just on the American high school system, but also with the queer stuff. And in fact, coming on to the positive, I like that like they showed like the way they normalize the urges that queer people have, and that they can do mistakes as much as any other straight person. I really like that. It's like it really normalizes it. Um, uh, I was getting like infected by the cast having fun as well. Like the cast was really having fun. The one I think I loved the most when they went ahead and like destroyed the other team, the football team. And it's
In
like
that little fight scene, Madonna.
that that was
So funny.
that was I think the funniest is when they were fighting, and it's also got heart as well. And like I said, like the cast is having fun. Don't believe the hype. Just watch it. Make sure that you're expecting it's a very silly movie, and like let yourself go with the flow of this movie. I think I'm between 3.5 and the 3/5 with this one.
Interesting. I think I'm much more positive than you, Franco, on Bottoms. Like I think I love this movie. The humor really worked for me. There was a lot of humor, which I laughed like non-stop throughout this movie.
It's,
Like you, it took me, I think, around like 10 minutes to get the wavelength
mhm,
on
mhm,
which
mhm.
this movie was playing. It took me, I think, 10 minutes because those 10 minutes were utter chaos for me. I'm like, what the fuck
Yes,
am I
yes.
watching? It took me 10 minutes, and I was like, I'm gonna stop watching this. Me and my girlfriend were like,
What's
like she,
happening?
she turned to me and are you enjoying this? I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck is going on. But there was a moment, like in the Dark Souls games, Joe, where it clicked. Like,
Mhm, mhm.
I get the wavelength. I get where this is going. And from that moment onwards, I couldn't take my eyes off this movie. I think I love this movie. Ayo Dabiri is insanely good in this. I was surprised as out there and as much humor there is. There is also a lot of, like you said, Franco Hart, lots of very
Mhm.
emotional scenes as well. The Beer has one particular scene, like 3/4 of the way in, which is impressive. Like, obviously, she's an amazing actress, so, but I was really impressed. Like, this movie, I really, really liked it. I love the political, like, the fact that there is no political correctness here, like, the way it
Yes, yes.
tackles every issue. Like, you can still tell till today, lots of these kinds of like, comedy movies are maybe a little scared to tackle maybe queer issues in a like all round fashion, and maybe they try to show only the positive sides of things. Here it's like literal joke after joke after joke. Feminism, they pass it through the ringer, like
Yeah,
literally. It's perfect.
yeah.
But at the same time, the movie tackles the patriarchy really well as well. So
Yeah,
and
yes.
that's what makes this for me a really great movie. The
No,
way
because,
it
and
tackles all these political issues is so funny and really, really, really well done.
and the fact, like, spoiler alert, the fact that they use this as a premise to date girls. Their
Yes,
intention
yes.
was not to
Unabashedly, like literally creating creating this fight club
fight club.
just to bang girls. That's pretty much it.
Exactly.
Which is very similar to like the early 2000 movies like
American
American
Pie.
Pie and so on. But this time the queer version. This one
Yes,
has,
yes.
and the soundtrack, Franco, and I love the soundtrack.
Really love the soundtrack.
The
Yes,
soundtrack is
yes.
so good. The Avril Lavigne needle drop. That
Yeah,
I turned to my
complicated.
girl. Oh my god, yes! When I was like a teenager, I loved Avril Lavigne. I still do, but obviously, in those days, like Call of Duty and Avril Lavigne were my life, literally. So that needle drop, perfect.
Yeah. And
Um,
the football players was like so
the
metrosexual.
guy in the cage, like, what the fuck is he doing in a cage? It was so funny.
Yeah.
The teacher
As
was
well-
really funny as well.
the teacher is so out of touch. It's like, oh my
La
god.
man. And when he starts complaining, when he first becomes like, we're getting into very serious spoilery stuff
Yes,
here,
I
though.
suppose.
But the way he comments about feminism at the start
And
and then
then
later on, it's so funny. I that's why I loved it so much, because I could see like all the political commentary it was making in such an entertaining fashion. Like I laughed non-stop throughout. It was
but
really
that's
well
that's
done.
the, that's the thing with this movie, and for people going in blind, like you said, like the first time is like, what is this
Yeah,
movie?
utter chaos, utter chaos. Like I could not understand
um
what was going
it,
on.
it can work a lot against it, if you're not going into it with its wavelength. But I would say like I would say like Fight Club meets Rick and Morty as well.
There is a bit of Rick and Morty here as well. Yes, I can
Mhm.
see that. I can see that.
Yes,
This
because
is a movie.
especially
Yeah, sorry, Franco.
now, especially with the violent humor, it's like us. Then I was
Mm.
like, okay, this is an adult cartoon, basically.
Also, surprisingly, really violent as well. Jesus,
Yeah.
you hear Fight Club? I really mean Fight Club here, like literally Fight Club, queer Fight Club. Like,
Yeah.
wow, they go for it. This is one of the movies, one of like that me and my girlfriend really disagreed on. So she really did not like it. I loved it.
So,
I gave this, I think, a 4 out of 5. I really, really, really liked it.
I'm still on the fence about it. Like I might watch it again. I don't know if I'm going to watch it with my brother. Um, uh, Also, sorry, Havana Rose Liu, man, she was so pretty. I would also crush badly on her.
Oh, by the way, talking about Willow. Ruby Cruz was in Willow.
Ah, but she was good,
She was so
Ruby
good.
Cruz.
She was so good. Like oh my god, her mom. I was
Yes.
laughed so much. When she was cringing on the ground, the Lala, I was like
Yeah.
crying laughing in that scene. So good, so good. So good. Anyways, so bottoms, Franco, you gave it a 3 or a 3.5?
Let's say a light 3.5.
Okay.
Sorry, Anthony Fantano.
Fair enough,
but
fair enough. I give it a 4. I really, really like bottoms. I loved actually bottoms. And to conclude, we've got 10
the
minutes for No One Will Save You.
Say about
Joe,
it.
who wants to tackle this, guys? Franco or Joe? Do you want to introduce it and then?
Let's listen to Joe. I want
All
to
right,
listen
Joe,
to Joe.
go ahead.
You're building this up to be something that it is not. But anyway, I will go into it. So No One Will Save You is a film that a lot of people are talking about currently online due to it being released on Hulu and not in theaters. And it's about an exiled, anxiety-ridden homebody must battle an alien who's found its way into her home. Written and directed by Brian Duffield and starring mostly Caitlin Dever. Yeah, I will just do. Are we going? Wait. In order for us to really get into the meat of this, we're going to have to spoil this film.
Let's
Yes,
cover
yes.
the basics first.
Okay,
and
so
then get to the spoilers.
I will cover the very basics first, and I will say that I'll go for the good things that I like because I can do that without spoiling it. So the things I really liked about this film is it has a certain, not really gimmick, but a certain device that it uses, which it uses to great effect, in my opinion. Although towards the end, it did get a little bit stale. If I will say it, I won't tell you what that device is. But the best things about this film are its sense of tension and the way it is staged in terms of the way the action and the tension meld together. Really, really, really fucking great stuff from Brian Duffield on display here in what I think is one of his first feature length films. And in terms of like just really feeling in on the action and with the character, you feel it every step of the way. And another great thing about it is it's really short. It's only an hour and a half long, and it flies from the first fucking minute. You get like a 7-minute like introduction to things, and then you're in the situation and you're there for the rest of the film. Like
God
for me,
save 1 hour 30-minute movies, man.
yeah, for me this is like it is like a really, really fucking good, just pure genre, bordering on like a not just B movie, a very B plus movie, because it is also, it's a little bit silly, like intrinsically, this film, in certain aspects that it has, but it's a good thing because it's fun and it's self-aware of the fun that it is trying to have. I won't say it doesn't take itself too seriously, because unfortunately at one point it takes itself way too fucking seriously.
Does.
But the best things I can say about it is that like it's not long, it's made really, really well. Caitlin Dever manages to carry it, but I mean, water wet, she's fucking fantastic. In my opinion, she should be Ellie in Last of Us the season 2, but I never get anything I want. And yeah, I had a very good time with this.
Her eyes,
film
man, are
yesterday.
so expressive.
Yeah, it's an incredibly expressive performance from her in particular. But I had a good time.
American Cassandra Spiteri, basically,
Yeah.
because even her, she has a bit of Cassandra over
Like the
here
way
as
she
well in this
portrays
film.
anxiety, for example, that scene, I was like, oh my God, I'm getting
Ooh.
anxiety.
Yeah.
That was.
But no, I had a good time with this. It's just a really fun genre film. You have to turn your brain off at times, like completely. But yeah, I had a good time. Are we going to spoil it now?
So before we get into spoilers, man, Joe, your rating?
My rating, it's a solid 3 out of 5.
Okay, fair enough. Franco, I don't know if you want to add anything to like the basics, and then we'll get into the spoiler section, or it's just
No,
the rating.
I again, like Joe took the words right out of my mouth. I might just hang up, man. Joe is telling everything. But yeah, Caitlin Dever, I think that she's a great highlight in this movie. I have to also commend the sound design. I really like the sound design, even some of the creature design as well. It's like their behavior. There was some thought put behind it. Um, uh, yes, you have to switch off your brain, but I enjoyed it. I have to comment about the ending, because the second time I saw is like, nope, not getting it as well. And but I would go. I'm very generous. I would go 4 on 5. It's 4 on 5 only because this movie deserved to be on the big screen, man. Because
Yeah,
it
I'll
would
agree with
be
you there.
really
It would have
good,
been really good in the
really
cinema.
really good popcorn entertainment. And even I like the device that there's no dialogue in it. Um, yeah, some why are you laughing?
Spoilers.
Yeah,
Because
I
Joe
mean,
was like, "There's a device. I'm not gonna mention what it is."
okay,
I
And
mean,
Franco, yeah,
I mean,
they don't speak.
technically, there is some dialogue.
There's one line.
yes. I think that line is also meant to the audience,
Yes.
for after thinking, no, not that twist, and there's like, oh no, I'm sorry. Okay, good,
Mhm.
good.
Good job.
No, but like I watched it 2 times already, and both of the times where there's the jump scares as well, I also like had this, that kind of
I freaked out in a
uh,
couple of scenes, Astra. I freaked out in a couple of
extra.
scenes, especially
And
later on when, obviously she's hiding. That's not a spoiler.
mm,
And they're like, oh my god, I freaked out. I
yeah.
freaked out. But like Franco, I think I'm gonna give this. I'm not sure if I give this a 4 or a 4.5. I don't know
Four
when I
point
give a
five is
rating.
way. I'm just gonna say it's way too fucking generous. Like,
The thing is,
that
I
is
can see
fucking
this.
wild.
I can see this definitely being. I can see this definitely being in my top 10 of the year, very easily in my top 10 of the year. And if I give it a 4, then I'm gonna be like, there are movies which have a 4.5, which might not be in the list. Well, anyways, who cares? It's my fucking list. Sue me.
I mean,
No, I think this is a 4 out of 5. I think this is a 4 out of 5. I think it's a fair 4 out of 5, considering some of the issues we're going to talk about in the spoiler section of this review. I think I had to shut my brain off a bit too much for it to be a 4.5 out of 5. Although, again, the positives seriously outweigh any negative, to be clear. I love this movie. I really enjoyed this movie. But I think a 4 out of 5 is fair. I think a 4 out of 5 is fair. Mela, Joe, get into it. What were your issues?
it's extremely contrived. That's my biggest thing. Like, it's fun and it is genre. Like, with a pure genre film, you do expect some of these things, and you can forgive it for some of them. And I do forgive a lot of its contrivances. Like, I was pointing out things when we were chatting yesterday about the fact that, like, come on, she boards up like all her windows and shit, and then she covers her door with a fucking blanket. Like, it's a little bit stupid. Or the fact that, like, she's doing all these things, like defend her house, and puts a Stanley knife in her pocket, but then doesn't pick up any other weapons, but then doesn't use the Stanley knife until about 30 minutes later, like, for the first time. Yeah. But then again, like, these kinds of, like, things, when you ask them of a movie, it's like the thing of, like, in a horror film where, like, something is at the end of a hallway, but the protagonist or the person in the film is still going down the hallway, and you're like, why the fuck are they going down the hallway? Those kind of questions can ruin a film, and that's why I can forgive some of its contrivances. The thing which took the most away from the film for me, like, and I just can't. I don't know why they went, like, full hard on it, because it could have been, in my opinion, so much better. But she's obviously alienated from this community, and you don't know for ages while she's alienated from this community, which is okay, because I was at least saying to myself, like, if they give me some form of payoff as to why she's alienated, that is fine. Like, but there were points in the movie I was just going, like, why the fuck does everyone hate her? Like, she's got spat in the face, like, in the police station, and no one fucking batted an eyelid, kind of thing. And it's the reveal that this Maud character, who she is writing to at the beginning of the film, and then you find out is dead midway through the film, was obviously her best friend when she was a child. And in a moment of what I can only describe as pure madness from both the writer and the character in this script, in a disagreement or an altercation, kills her friend. Now, we had this discussion yesterday. You say she was young, she was 12 years old. Again, we had this discussion.
12.
When I was 12 years old, I knew not to hit people with rocks, and you
yeah,
could
so did
seriously
I.
hurt someone. So that is a contrivance in and of itself, of, like, you're really stretching my belief of that. And yes, this is a movie about a fucking alien invasion, but I have then in order for me to empathize with that character is very difficult for me when they're quite literally a murderer. Yes, they were a child, but then there's like, why the hell is she still living in this town where she grew up in with the parents of the child that she killed and stuff like that? Why are you remaining in an alienated community when probably you would have been institutionalized and sent somewhere else after doing such a terrible thing? Like, again, you can, I would probably, this movie would have jumped to 4 stars for me if you just made it that she was, the 2 girls were playing when they were 12. They were being stupid fucking 12-year-olds. They got into an accident and her friend happened to die, and then the community blames her for that death. That's
But Joe,
so much more
if
believable.
that happened, then I think we would have the issue of, like, okay, the community knows it was just an accident, right? So,
but the
does
community,
it make sense for the community to really alienate her?
no,
that much?
but that's why I didn't explain this yesterday. You make it so when you see it from her perspective, like they show it to you in the film, they show the scene of her picking up the rock and whacking her fucking friend over the head with it. When you see it through her perspective, you see the accident, but only she knows it's an accident. The community have just seen that the police chief has lost his daughter and they're distraught, and that only this one girl was there. So they wrongfully blame her and alienate her for this girl's death. And you already have a much, much more sympathetic character. And you have much more empathy from my side.
Then, because I was looking at the thoughts of the director, and the main thought he wanted to bring out of this movie was that this is deep down. And he said, anyone can interpret it any way you want. Like, this is just my interpretation of my movie. And that this is, deep down, a redemption movie. The hero who fucked up, not he doesn't call her a hero, but the main protagonist who fucked up and goes through lots of shit. And by going through all of that shit, she tries to kind of redeem herself by going through a bunch of shit.
I really fail to see the redemption, because like with the ending of the movie as well, the assumption is that most of the world has been they are now controlled by these aliens with like the things in their throat. She is the only one who is not and gets to keep her actual psyche and her own humanity. In my opinion, she doesn't get a redemption arc. She gets let off scot-free. But then we also went through the interpretation
she's been through so much shit.
But so did everyone else on Earth.
Yeah.
and they got away with having their psyche taken away from them.
No, but this is her
having
story.
their lives taken away from them.
Remember, this is just her story.
Yes,
so we're
granted.
just focusing on her.
Yes, granted.
Like,
but then
yes,
if like, why is she the one? And granted, it is her story, but I fail to see how it is a redemption story when everyone else around her loses their own agency throughout all of this, because they're just being controlled by aliens at the end of the day. She's the only one who's not, and she gets to dance happily and interact with this community again. But in a way,
again, it's that you can't blame on her then.
Like, no, it's not to blame her. Like, that's why I said my interpretation of the aliens choosing not to control her is, I mean, the aliens have shown from the beginning of the film they're extremely malevolent. There's nothing good about these aliens. They're coming in, they're taking over people, they're trying to kill them at the same time. For me, I saw it as, like Franco said it quite well, as game recognized game. They realize this is an extremely dark, twisted person who did something terrible, and they're like, okay, we'll let you fucking go on, because like, you could probably fuck with us, basically. Like, we're not. She's basically like her level of corruption in like what you want to call it, like her soul or whatever, is beyond their control. She will always break free. Like when she pulls the thing out of her mouth in the film, the thing to control her, she will never be controlled because of this one terrible thing that she's done, because it would always bring her back. So again, the director is completely, he can see that as a redemption story. I personally fail to see it as a redemption story. I see it as like quite tragic, because now the community which she has been like accepted by is not a real human community.
It's mind control.
It's mind control, exactly. It's almost like a hive mind.
Looking at her at her face at the end, I was so confused. Like, is she happy? Is she really happy? Because her smile is really weird, and I think that's.
I didn't think she was, because you see the heavy breathing that she's doing as she smiles.
Yes.
I was like, that's a person who's internally panicking.
which is where
Mm.
I'm confused, and that's why again I'm biased. Obviously, I love this movie. The ending made like, oh my god, this is. I'm gonna keep on thinking about this movie for ages. Like, is she happy? Is she not? Like, is there anyone else who's like her? Maybe free. Maybe we'll have no one will save you too. No, I'm joking.
I doubt
Mm.
that.
Oh, no,
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 please,
no, no. I hope
please, please, please.
this. No,
I'm
no.
joking,
Brian
Brian
Duffield.
Duffield. Please, I'm joking. I'm
Brian
joking. I'm
Duffield.
joking. I'm
keep
joking.
the- I'm still very on the fence on the ending because again the second time round is like what the hell is happening?
Mhm.
Because at the same time I see what Joe is saying, like maybe it's game recognizes game. Then I also see like, and it's also like I think I read the same article you read, Andrea, that the ending is very bittersweet. It's halfway between a bleak ending and a
100%.
happy
It's
ending.
not definitely not a happy ending. I mean, fucking everyone's mind control, right?
And then again, it's like she made the society that alienates her like also almost a reflection of her. In fact, I was thinking also about the fact that she has a whole city like lit up on the table. It's
Mhm.
like and now she has that model is now even bigger. She has more control of it because it feels like the aliens know that this woman means business. Especially after killing how many three? Yeah,
Yeah, three,
the
three of
her,
the aliens.
her,
Yeah,
her can count were
Two, three.
three.
Yeah, three.
four if you count her friend.
Hmm, fair enough.
Uh five actually.
Yeah,
Oh, shit, yes. Because then there's
Five.
the. Oh,
yeah.
that
Then
bit doesn't
she
work out.
technically kills herself.
Yeah. No, that's why, for example, that bit's like okay, she got stabbed and still walking. That was like, oh, okay, we're going there. All right. But again, so it was so enjoyable that I didn't mind. It's like I really like the bit where there's I think one of my favorite scene is when she gets hit with the red beam,
Oh, the red beam. Yeah.
and
it's a fantastic film.
yes, visual is so good. And guys, did you laugh out loud when the stick alien like fell? He tripped on it.
That's
Which,
another complaint I have. The aliens are fucking dumb. Like,
yes,
they're really
that
stupid.
is my
Like,
big issue with this movie.
and they're
That is my
extremely
big issue, yeah.
they're like selectively overpowered at times. It's like they have a cooldown, like so they can use telekinetic powers, but then like for 3 minutes they can't. Like,
But then the one of the aliens is like not even looking at her and does like force power and he's like
yes,
Anakin.
and he throws her through a fucking wall, and then he
Hmm.
just decides to stand there, like.
That's my
Oh,
big
it's
issue with this movie.
is it like they're playing with their food mostly? It's like
I don't know. They seemed pretty good with like colonizing the rest of the fucking town. So
Like, why are they struggling this much with this one person? Like,
yeah,
I get
yeah,
it, she's
exactly.
determined, but like, I'm sure she's not the only determined person.
But
And
this
that's
is
why we
where
should
this.
have No One Will Save You Too, so we can see the other
Uh,
determined persons.
but but then again, maybe then is when I this is when I veer onto Joe's side. Maybe she had the predilection of violence at the end of the day, so that's why she's yeah, very dumb. I think, but the blanket thing, I think it was the Spielberg moment of this movie, I would call it. When you see like
the nails coming out.
the the nails coming
Yeah,
out.
do it.
I think he wanted to put
Do it with a fucking door.
with the screws coming out.
Yeah,
It's true. It's
great,
true.
but do it with a wooden door that could actually stop something, not a fucking blanket.
But then again, the door was already
Yeah,
was already blown.
yes, but that's why she picks it up and should have nailed it back on.
Mm. Then again, who knows? But because then I go back into the being on the fence things. Like, what would I do if I was confronted with this kind of thing? Like, granted, I didn't kill my best friend with a rock, but
Yeah.
what would I would do?
Actually, I was going to say about that because of its device of not using any dialogue and the character being virtually silent for the whole movie, apart from like screams and expressions and stuff like that. That's actually one thing. The only reason why it got a bit old on me is because this is just a total me problem as well. And not that it's a problem with the film. It's just I was failing to relate as well, because me as a person, like I realize it more and more now as I get older. I talk to myself all the fucking time when I'm just going about my day and stuff. I have not an internal dialogue. I have a dialogue. Like it just comes out. And I was saying,
In fact,
in the amount of situations she was in this movie where I would just be effing and blinding and screaming my heart out with words, like that's why then towards the end I was like struggling to like connect with her, because I'm like, you are too cool, calm, and collected about certain things.
Yeah, she wasn't calm. She
Not
was
calm,
like,
but
you can see like anxiety. But yes, I get
at
what
least
you're
like a
saying,
shit or a fuck or something. Like,
no, in fact, it reminded me when you sent me that script on based on PT, Joe. It's like okay, remember we had
Yeah.
these discussions. Like the guy is like, okay, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
You know, it's,
See,
again,
then, sorry, Franco, you're going to add something, or I wanted to.
no, just
That's why I really empathize with her. Then I'm quite a like, apart from when you see me on the podcast, I'm quite a like when I'm on my own, I don't say a word. I'm really a really subdued person. But there was one moment I noticed where she kind of got a little pissed off. Did you notice it? There was one moment where she's like really, you could tell in her eyes she went from like serious anxiety and fear. There was a bit of a moment where she got really angry and she was like being super aggressive. And I was like, yes, I think I'd be exactly like her. I'd be fucking shitting my pants and super anxiety. When I get over the whole fear, I think I get super angry, like with the feeling of them invading my house. So I really empathize with a lot of her actions. And to be fair, I don't remember exactly, but I can remember noticing in her eyes. And there was a moment where she was like walking, and I could tell from the way she was walking and her eyes, there was a bit of her, which was like getting a bit angry as well with the aliens. And the way she acted towards the aliens was different from the start till the end. By the middle part, you could tell she was maybe minus. There was a bit of an anxiety, where she got serious anxiety. There was a moment where she looked really determined in her actions. So I like those moments. I really empathize with those ones. I was like, I think I'd be exactly like her, minus obviously killing her best friend. That part. No. But
you
dealing
never
with the
know.
alien,
You never know.
oh,
Yeah,
no.
maybe
Dealing-
that's why you're doing Ad Lib Podcast, to deal with your internal guilt.
No, but the dealing with aliens, I hope I never have to deal with aliens. But if I ever have to deal with aliens, I think I'd be just like her, like super anxiety, and then just get super pissed off, and then probably die because of that. Guys, I don't know if you want to add anything else.
No, I think I've said everything I need to say. I mean, I will just state again, I did have a good time with this film. I enjoyed it.
Same. I think we can all
But
agree we all had a good
I feel
time.
like it is my duty as like someone on this podcast and like someone who reviews films I have to be critical at sometimes as well.
Of course. I personally, I really enjoyed it. Like I was 1 hour 30 minutes of, oh my god, like constantly. And then the last moment was like, the musical part was great. No, I really liked it. I really liked it.
Even the music in this movie is quite good. There, when there's some kind of horns and
The VFX,
strings in
guys.
it.
The music was good. What do you think? Like last comment, Joe. What do you think about the VFX overall
No, overall, it's
for a
great.
for a streaming movie?
22 million. The budget was 22 million.
They do a lot with a little. Like the creature design is quite good. One of my small like complaints as well. I like a creature feature which like has a good reveal of the creature. They do kind of blow their load in the first like 10 minutes of revealing exactly what the alien looks like. But I suppose like it's a really short hour and a half. Like it's pedal to the metal kind of thing. Like
yeah. Honestly, I didn't mind it. I mean, it breaks a bit the mold, because I think we're expecting not for them not to show the creature.
yeah.
And
I suppose for the film it wouldn't have worked, because then like the rest of the reveals you have, like there's the bigger one as well.
Exactly.
So.
And for 22 million, I think it's a very ballsy choice to show the alien that much extra. To be fair, because that's quite a lot of VFX involved, and they're not like super darkness. You can barely see the alien. You can clearly see the alien. So again, that's another very ballsy decision, I think, as well.
Yeah.
In many moments, like the spider alien, we see some of the reveals when you see the spider alien like popping up. like you just see the head. Or when you see
from behind.
yes, on the house, or when you see the alien just walking in the back and no sound, just and she doesn't even notice it. Oh, those moments, I was shitting my pants. I was like, oh. I had a good time. Anyways, let's end it here, guys. I think this was a very, very, very good podcast. Lots of great stuff to talk about. I hope one would hope every week was like this. Like so many great movies and games to talk about. But as always, to our viewers and listeners, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Franco and Joe, and thank you to Andrea.
Thank you, Andrea.
I hope you guys enjoy it. I just have a really, really good time around the podcast. I think with you guys.
3.5 out of 5. No.
Lots of very. By the way, Joe, before you leave, I just have to tell you something. That's very
fine.
important.
Yeah, all good.
Lots of very exciting reveals to come in the coming weeks. We are going places, thankfully. You will find out very soon, dear viewers and listeners. So, as always, thank you, Franco. Thank you, Joe. Hope you enjoy it as much as I do, because I have a really good time.
Always a pleasure.
Really, really good time. Thank you to our loyal viewers and listeners. We'll see you guys next week on the Ad Lib Podcast. Ciao, ciao. Peace.
Comment, subscribe, and like. Bye.